You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this first Tuesday of April? We're all a little more tired at this hour than normal, having to stay up a touch later than normal for a sporting event. Man, oh man, everybody complaining on Twitter about the 9:20 start time. It's not like this is the first time this has ever happened.
Thank you.
It's every year for 40 years. Where you all been?
Not only that, David, for the longest time, Monday Night Football started at 9 o'clock. What is the big deal? Let's slow down. Did all of a sudden all the sports writers just hit a certain number in their life that they decided they wanted to all complain? It's our annual trip to complain about what time a game starts because it starts at the same time every year.
Yeah, this just in, by the way. The network's paying hundreds of millions of dollars annually to televise this thing. They'd like to get as much of the West Coast watching as possible. I think they're allowed. Besides, the game was free. You didn't have to pay for it. Just wait. In 15 years, it'll be on at the time that you want. You'll be paying for it directly. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. How are you this fine morning?
Other than a little tired, I'm terrific. Couldn't be better. Wonderful game last night. Liked the outcome.
Yes, that's right. You're very anti-Carolina. And that was before Eric Church.
Yeah, it was living in the Raleigh-Durham era for a couple of years.
Right.
It took its toll on me. But, hey, when it was halftime,
looking pretty good for Carolina.
Well, it not only looking good for Carolina, but looking like we didn't have a game. Looking like, oh, boy, man, we got two great semifinal games, and I hope we don't get a dud here. And Kansas, great second half, unbelievable finish, and we get a terrific game. We get an exciting finish, and Kansas cuts down the nets.
I thought we were going to get a game at halftime. I did not think that Kansas was going to go out this way. I also thought, boy, that Carolina's not playing a lot of people here. Can they finish this? But, when you're down 15 at the half, I, wasn't putting any money on the Jayhawks coming back to win. But, even Nova, which was down, 11 or 13 at the half, came back, cut it to 6 against Kansas. I'm like, well, this is basketball. We're going to get a couple runs here. But I was surprised at the very end, by the way, Kansas didn't foul up 3. Were you?
Oh, totally.
I can't let them shoot a 3. Now, they didn't get a good shot off, as it turned out. And, when you win, it's the right play. But I was surprised up 3 at the end there that they allowed even a three-pointer to get off, especially Bill Self knowing, he won a national championship previously because Memphis, who was trying to foul up 3 in the closing seconds, didn't, and Mario Chalmers hit the 3 to force overtime, and then the Jayhawks won 14 years earlier. That surprised me, but that's the beauty of sports.
I don't get, as sports have become more and more analytical, which bothers a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is it's not going away. How, with all of the information that we have, that you can let someone shoot a three-pointer down 3 with given the opportunity to foul now? It's bad coaching or bad execution, but
some coaches don't believe in it, though.
I understand it.
Because they argue.
I would start and you used to run and shoot free throws at the end of every practice.
Right.
Well, I would also be adding in, all right, here we go. Let's go to our up 3 scenarios, everybody.
Because coaches can argue, that's the one way you can lose in regulation. And it is true. You foul and you can hit the first free throw. And if by chance you miss the second, you're able to get the rebound, you can kick it out. Somebody can hit a 3 and you could actually lose. And so some coaches don't believe in fouling. Just play it out. I've always been a foul guy.
I wasn't, and I've seen it burn teams too much. I was of the ill of what you talked about, that there are just different ways to get points and just play defense. But I have found it to be wrong. So I was very surprised to see Bill Self, and particularly as you mentioned, they get the 3 against Memphis that if Memphis fouls, they don't have that natty.
And it is remarkable. I mean, Kansas is a blue blood. We all acknowledge that. And yet at the same time, last night is just their 4th national championship. I mean, they've done a lot of winning. Mark, in a lot of ways, they're a lot like the Braves. The Atlanta Braves for 30 years have won a lot of baseball games. And until last fall, had one World Series title to show for it. Winning a lot of baseball games. A lot.
And playing in a lot of important baseball games.
Yes. And some of the biggest games in the history of the sport, even. And had one World Series title to show for it. And yet we all said, oh, Kansas a blue blood. It is remarkable when you think of all the history involved with the program. I mean, Naismith was a Jayhawk.
Pretty good start. I mean, as far as that goes.
Right. I mean, he does, by the way, have the worst winning percentage in the history of Kansas basketball as a coach, which is pretty funny when you think about it. But just their 4th, Bill Self, the first Kansas coach to win 2. Now, what I think will be interesting is down the road, Kansas is facing like 5 or 6 level 1 violations here.
5, one more than the total number of championships that they have, David. In
So,
fact, my favorite tweet of the night last night was how long before Kansas's title is vacated.
and of course, all LSU and Kansas all accused of doing things that now you're pretty much allowed to do, whether they say so or not. So it'll be interesting if anything happens of this. But for Kansas, they say this is the title that they thought they were going to win 2 years ago when the 2020 tournament was canceled by COVID, and they would have been the number 1 overall seed heading into that tournament, which guarantees nothing. I mean, Gonzaga, I think each of the last 2 years has been the number 1 overall seed heading into the tournament, and they've yet to cut down the nets.
And Kansas, when they've been in that position before, has struggled mightily. So there are no guarantees. Certainly in the tournament, ask North Carolina with a 15-point halftime lead. And now, well, just short.
It's funny. I didn't think Carolina, quote unquote, choked. I didn't. I thought Kansas made a couple of adjustments. And I thought over the course of 40 minutes that, things just kind of evened out. Carolina had their 16-0 run. Kansas had their 20-6 run. Well, that's all but even. Then, you do up the math there, that's 22-20 Carolina. So, I understand you blow a 15-point halftime lead. It's easy to throw the C word around, but I didn't think they choked. All right. I thought Kansas made a couple of adjustments. Kansas picked up their level of play, obviously. And I thought that, what we had talked about, Carolina basically playing 5. And it's tough to get to the finish line. They got their second win midway through the second half. I mean, they came back and, had a 6-point lead.
6-point lead.
So, maybe, like a golfer can choke in the middle of the round and then kind of get their act together. Maybe it was a choke. I didn't think it was. I thought it was basketball. That sometimes the runs happen during continuous play and sometimes the runs happen after a stoppage of play. But obviously, they had the lead with a minute and a half to go, didn't win, and it sucks.
What I felt badly for North Carolina about is Baycott, when he gets hurt, the floor buckled. I mean, there's videos of it. I thought I saw it in real time, and then I saw people break down. The floor buckled.
It did.
I mean, this is the national championship, for the love of God. And that can't happen. And I know they're temporary courts. I know things in blank happens and all that kind of stuff. But man, oh man.
It reminded me of the old Boston Garden where there would literally be spots on the
dead spots on the floor.
In which all of a sudden the ball wouldn't bounce all the way up and this, that, and the other thing.
Here's the difference. We tore that building down a long time ago, okay? This just shouldn't happen today. So that bothered me. I hate any time a player gets injured to have an effect on the game. Who knows if he's in there at the end with the offensive rebound and how they're setting up, who knows? I don't like that when it was a fluky injury. Did they choke? To a degree, because they got, and I think your analogy of the golfer that mid-round choked is a much better one because they found their composure. But when you're up 15 at the half and it goes away that quickly, I thought Davis should have called a timeout maybe a little bit earlier there.
Well, I'm with you there.
And slow them down because they obviously made a change with McCormick. They put him out and they changed the way the offense was running and it fooled North Carolina. And I think Davis in the midst of that run, looking back on it, would say probably should have taken a timeout a little earlier.
I agree with that. There were a couple times during the 20-6 start to the second half in which I thought, hey, you guys need a timeout here. They've made an adjustment. All right, you may need to come back with another one. Maybe somebody needs to sit for a minute and a half here. I agree with that. But come on now, 1 point game with a minute to go for the national championship. As a neutral fan, what the hell more can you want?
Absolutely. You got a player thrown up on the floor at one point in there. Come on.
I know. I know. Doug Gottlieb tweeted out, I've seen a lot of things in basketball that I've never seen. But so a 1 seed ends up winning it in a battle of blue bloods, and yet at the same time, it's a tournament in which everybody feels good about the sport, right?
I think college basketball had a win. I think the tournament was really solid. Obviously, St. Peter's, the Cinderella darling, getting all the way to the Elite Eight. The Duke-Carolina game in a semifinal.
Well, and both of them really. You had good basketball. You had 120 minutes of basketball, and I would say over 100 minutes of it was really good, in which both teams were playing. That's pretty darn good. And not only that, the ball went in the basket a little bit, which hasn't always been the case in the tournament and for the season, to be honest with you. Miller and Moulton.
Great show lined up today. We will head to Augusta.
What? Anything going on there?
Apparently just a boring practice round yesterday.
Right. With a few spectators, a few patrons.
Checking it out. Curtis Strange will join us from Augusta, and it's a Tuesday. That means we'll talk with Pat Kirwan about all things NFL. The Moulton League was going hot again yesterday. We'll talk about it coming up in 20 minutes. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
He'd get the humble thing.
It's the other thing I would do, by the way, if I ran in the NCAA. First thing I'd do.
Reinstate every title.
Everything. All the Final Fours, UMass, Michigan, all that shit. Can we end this shit? Okay? We're starting over. Hey, DC, I don't know if you can blame a coach for the out of bounds play because we don't know what was drawn up versus what the kids end up running. But yeah, Bill Self is a great coach, Hall of Fame coach.
And I will say with that second half press and all that, they had trouble. Carolina had trouble anytime there was pressure getting the ball in bounds. It's not an easy spot where they were inbounding it from either.
Here's the thing though about Mattress Man. Did he make a money line bet?
Right. I don't know.
And his bet was Kansas, right?
3.3 million or something.
Yeah, but was it?
I don't know.
I mean, no, but someone in here saying, Mattress Man picked Kansas. Yeah, but it was Kansas -4.
Hang on, let me see. I've got it right here. No, money line.
Money line? Okay.
Well, let's see. He wagered 5.5 million to win 10. So he bet him to start the Final Four.
Gotcha.
So he made big money.
How many championship games have they been in? Well, they were in the 2012 game that they lost. Roy Williams lost the 2003 game. He lost the 91 game. Marco, I'm with you, by the way. I would change the name of the award in women's basketball. Yes. He has an ever so slight hitch, limp, if you will. Ever so slight.
So I didn't see this, that Eric Adams is buying billboards across the state of Florida to respond to the Don't Say Gay law to encourage people to move to New York from Florida.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. You want to get people to move back?
Lower the taxes.
There you go. With Coach K retired, who's the best coach in men's college basketball. I'm just thinking of poll question.
No.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us on this first Tuesday of April, the Florida Sports Network. Tiger looked phenomenal, unquote, is what Fred Couples said after playing a practice round with Tiger, along with Justin Thomas. I'm telling you, Justin Thomas has become the new Marco Mira.
It's so the anti-Marco Mira, though.
I
Because
know.
Marco Mira was just his punching bag that he could beat by 6 aside every time he played.
Well, he was the sage who kind of, put his arm around him, made him feel comfortable amongst the boys. He was the only one who could get through Tiger's armor, so to speak. And O'Mara did have 98, though, on him. He won his 2 majors in 98, including, Tiger and him were battling at the end of that British that year. And O'Mara ended up winning the playoff. Tiger missed it by a stroke. But, now all of a sudden, here we are 20-something years later, and Justin Thomas is his guy.
Well, it's probably because his kid likes Justin Thomas a lot.
Well, there you go. So it was Freddie, and it was Justin, and it was Tiger.
And it was every patron that had a ticket for the Monday practice round.
Never has a Monday practice round ticket at Augusta been as awesome as it was yesterday, and it was beautiful weather on top of it.
They said there were Thursday roars out there for a Monday practice round,
in which literally the rest of the field was playing in obscurity.
They for certain golfers, I think it would honk them off. If somebody new came on the scene, if Will Zalatoris all of a sudden starts winning, and he was, I could see where Justin Thomas or Spieth or somebody might get, DeChambeau, like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're playing the practice run at the Masters, looking at one another going, you believe this, Chris?
Well, and if he plays, and it certainly looks as if he is going to, because it would seem, unless Tiger wakes up this morning and feels awful, that he is going to give it a go. Because it's one thing, Mark, in my estimation, for him to fly in very quietly, even though people were tracking his private plane, but to fly in with no video and no one basically watching last Tuesday and squeeze in a practice round with him and his son and JT, and then flies home and, how do I feel? That sort of deal. But he did it quietly, no video.
Right.
This is very public. And it would seem as if, unless he woke up this morning and is like, oh, wow, this is after one day. I can't do this if it's 4. But
he's playing.
Yeah, Freddie said not only did he look great, he hit the ball well. He's not hitting it Rory DeChambeau long, but that he can basically keep up with Justin Thomas. And those that were tracking every shot of the round yesterday said basically he's driving it between 280 and 310. And Freddie did say also his short game is exceptional.
People think he's going to win now.
Well, that's
who do you
thing.
want, Tiger or the field?
Well, the other thing that's going to happen, though, is this is going to be 4 days, 72 holes of he's going to get standing ovations walking to every green, at least on Thursday. All day Thursday, there will be a standing ovation for every green he approaches. This will be like Jack and his farewell when we knew this was going to be his last, when he played St. Andrews for the final time. And for the 36 holes he played, he got a standing ovation. Arnie, when it was his last turn, got a standing ovation when he walked to every green. I mean, Tiger is going to be serenaded Thursday in a way in which he's actually never been serenaded
Thank you.
before.
Thank you. It's been hero worship, but it's never been
This blatant.
right. A golf deity is what he will be on Thursday. And just with the, couple saying what he said and a couple of other guys commenting on how well he's hit it, Justin Thomas commenting there, now how heightened the expectations are getting. Because we can't help ourselves with Tiger Woods. I don't think you and I have them yet. Might take 6 holes on Thursday before you go, now come on.
What I do find interesting, though, is that even Freddie, the people that are close to him are all saying, listen, man, a month ago, no way. I'm telling you, no BS. Because like we've said, hey, Tiger can ham and egg it and play the expectations game. But Rory, Freddie, a few others who have said, hey, I'm telling you, a month ago, I thought there was no chance of this. And basically they're like, I was with him at his house. I don't know what to tell you. I did not think this was happening. So for whatever, the body heals, when it heals, the way it heals. We all know that from our own ailments. And, we may get treated to something that is very, very unexpected.
And as you've said more than me, if there's a course that guys like Tiger know every square inch of, this is the course. This is the course where your memory and your short game can make monumental differences between anybody else that's out there.
Yeah, there's a reason that Jack, in his later years, the only place where Jack was still relevant was Augusta. He knew how to play the course. When he
Freddie
did what he
did. The same thing. He didn't have the success Jack did, but Freddie, in his late 40s and early 50s, you knew that Thursday, Friday, he's going to be right around the leaderboard. And if the bat can hold up, he might still be able to play on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, Phil's last Masters in 2010, all right, he was in the final group with Fred Couples. The thing that really makes me smile about all of this is how happy and damn near giddy his fellow competitors are to have him potentially in the field again. They are flat out rooting for it. It's as if they will. Now, obviously, no one's going to lay down for him, but they literally, if he beats them, they are seemingly fine with it.
Seemingly. And this is for these guys, it was the player that they worshiped and looked up to and wanted to be like. And now they've gotten a version of him of which he's been not only a fellow competitor, but I don't know about a friend, but certainly friendly with a lot of these guys. This Tiger that at the Ryder Cups is not the same Tiger that his predecessors played with. It's just not.
Champions dinner tonight. And Augusta has said, hey, Tiger doesn't have to let us know till the scheduled tee time on Thursday. So we'll just wait and see. Curtis Strange will join us in about an hour and a half. He's live at Augusta. He's doing work with ESPN and Westwood One Radio. Him and Tirico on the radio call. And we'll get Curtis's thoughts on, this, and there are 90 other something golfers in this field, right?
91 others. At least we're led to believe that, David.
It has been a fascinating golf year. None of the golfers who, when the season started, who were ranked in the top 10 of the world have won. And you've had 9 first-time winners already on tour? It's been an amazing start to the season. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next. Thanks so much for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I wanted to go Tiger there because A, it's Tiger, but B, also wanted to save the football stuff into the 7 o'clock hour, and just at this moment in time, it would be Tampa against Carolina. They're a wild card because of regulation wins. Even though they're tied with Boston for third, they'd be the wild card coming out of the Atlantic. It'd be Florida. I will say this: I love the Panthers getting the Caps, which is the way it looks right now. I mean, the Caps are 9 points behind Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to love that if you're a Panthers fan, don't you? Getting the Caps.
Absolutely.
Caps can't skate with you. Toronto, Boston in the first round series. Rangers, Penguins. Jeez Louise. Good teams going home early. Morning, Johnny Mac. Yeah, Klecko. I'd love an explanation as to why they just gave him away. I mean, this is a prospect who has not done much in his last 2 years. And a compensatory pick. I mean, Austin Meadows was making $4 million and was under team control for 3 years. I mean, geez. He's 27. I mean, he's about to turn 20. Well, he's going to be 27 next month. The other thing I like for the Tigers is left-hand hitter. Because, Baez, Torkelson, Cabrera, all right-handed. I mean, that Torkelson hit an eighth in the spring training game I was at. I hope they do that to start the year. Just put him at the bottom of the lineup, let him get comfy. Cabrera homered, I guess, the other day.
Did he?
To right center. It's a good sign. Yeah, but God, RCB's making. I mean, he drove in 106 runs last year. He's making $4 million.
Coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Curtis Strange at 8, Pat Kirwan 2 hours from now for some NFL talk. And there's some NFL news from yesterday. A significant trade, in fact. But that is not where we will start with
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
3 big stories from yesterday. We'll start with last night. In Nolens, Kansas rallies from 15 down at the half. They were down 16 late first half. Both are the biggest comebacks in NCAA championship game history. Kansas 72, Carolina 69, just the 4th championship in Kansas history. You would have thought that they would have won a few more. They've done a lot of winning, but not a lot of cutting down the nets. But it is the second time that Bill Self and the Jayhawks have done it. Carolina did have a 6-point lead in the latter moments of the second half after Kansas came all the way back to take the lead. But the big fella, McCormick, making the plays down the stretch. Too many Carolina injuries. All right. They didn't have anything to stop them late.
No, they didn't. And look, at Kansas shot lights out in the second half.
Yes, they did. Scored 47 points in the second half. Carolina desperation 3 wasn't close. Jayhawks win, but they don't cover, and the game went under. 72-69, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, and what was an outstanding Final Four. I do want to clarify one thing. We were talking yesterday about ratings since the Final Four was on TBS. And Turner, by the way, put it on TNT.
Right.
And they said they did that because of the 4 teams involved. They're like, well, Blue Bloods, we, might as well. We're paying a lot of money for this. So we might as well get programming and have every single person who could possibly watch it. Oh, okay. But we said that the Kentucky-Wisconsin semifinal from 7 years ago, which was also on TBS, did a better number than the Duke-Carolina semifinal. But the Duke-Carolina semifinal was the second highest rated game ever on cable. I mean, the Kentucky-Wisconsin one was number one. So, we'll find out later today or early tomorrow how, the rating for Kansas-Carolina.
Well, you'd think it's going to be as good as you can get with a comeback and things. I mean, they've kept an audience and all the things that you want in a game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people went to bed at halftime and woke up or are going to wake up and go, whoa, Kansas won? I mean, I guess it's possible. But Kansas by 3. Tiger, quote, looked phenomenal, unquote. According to Fred Couples in his practice round yesterday, Tiger played with Freddie and Justin Thomas. A reporter who walked all 18 with Tiger did say that Tiger was walking slower on 17 and 18. And if you watch Tiger closely, he does have a slight, I don't know if I'd call it limp. How about hitch in his giddy up?
As long as he's got a giddy up, David.
Freddie Couples said, quote, I hope everything keeps going the way it's going Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm sure he's going to tee it up Thursday. Tiger is yet to make it official, but remember, he would have to take himself out of the field at this point. I mean, in theory, he doesn't even have to make an announcement. He can just keep showing up.
Weather, inclement weather expected today, tomorrow, and Thursday morning. So yesterday's practice round was rather important.
There was a significant NFL trade yesterday, and an interesting one, in which a lot of people are scratching their head at what the Saints are thinking. The Eagles, who had 3 first-round picks at 15, 16, and 19, traded away 2 of those first-round picks to New Orleans. The Saints got the latter 2 of the 3. They got 16 and 19. They also picked up a 6th-round pick. In turn, they give the Eagles their first-round pick, which was 18. So the Eagles now, instead of having 15, 16, and 19, have 15 and 18. But here's what they also will now get. They will get a first-round pick in next year's draft. So the Eagles will have 2 first-rounders next year. They will get a 2nd-round pick in the 24 draft. And they will get the compensatory 3rd-round pick that the Saints had in this year's draft. So the Eagles will still have 2 firsts, and they'll have multiple 3rd-round picks. And, a 7th-rounder was thrown in as well. But a lot of people wondering what the Saints are up to here. They gave up a future 1, 2, and 3 in order to acquire a 2nd first-round pick in this year's draft.
It screams they're going up to get somebody.
Are they? I mean, honestly, people don't know.
No, I know.
There's one of 2 ways to look at this. That's the obvious. Like, well, they're putting together resources and they're going to move from 15 or 16 and 19.
Right.
They're going to move from 16 and 19 and they're going to move into the top 10. They're going to call the Jets at 4 and 10. They're going to call the Giants at 5 and 7. They're calling one of those 2 teams and they're grabbing one of their top 10 picks. And whether it's a quarterback or a tackle, because remember the Saints lost Teron Armstead.
So, and the Eagles now, you look at it and say, all right, well, this is one more year for Jalen Hurts because next year where there's a quarterback-rich class, they already have the firepower if they need to go up and get something done.
And from a cap standpoint, instead of having 3 first-rounders who will all come up at the same time, now they keep balancing it out, which 2, and that's a little easier from a cap standpoint. Listen, I totally get it from the Eagles' standpoint. I mean,
It's a good trade for the Eagles.
But from the Saints part of the deal, this is fascinating. I think they're going to stay put. Maybe take one of those picks and move up a little bit. Like, remember when the Bucks a couple years ago were desperate to get a tackle, and there was 4 of them, and the first 3 were taken, and Tampa threw in a 4th-round pick along with their 1st-round pick to move up 1 spot to assure that they got Tristan Wirfs, because they absolutely had to come out of the 1st round with a tackle. I kind of sense that because remember, the Saints lost Teron Armstead to the Dolphins. And they also lost both their safeties. One who left in free agency and the other who retired. And I don't know, are they targeting Kyle Hamilton, the kid from Notre Dame? They'd have to trade up to get him probably. But anyway, an interesting trade to say the least. NBA news, Ben Simmons ruled out for the rest of the regular season, which is just 3 more games, and also ruled out of any and all play-in games, according to Brooklyn Nets coach Steve Nash. So far, the Nets have gotten nothing out of the Harden deal.
Right.
Except long-term cap relief to some extent.
And Seth Curry and Drummond.
Yeah, like I said, they've gotten nothing out of the deal.
No, Curry's a good role player.
No. They're very good role players. There's no question about it, but it hasn't helped them in the standings. I mean, Simmons is the guy who, in theory, was going to help them win a championship this year.
He's the centerpiece.
I mean, you got to remember.
He's the only piece. I mean, come on now. Role players are nice, and you're going to need them, and I understand that. But they thought they were getting the 3rd part of the big 3 to win a championship.
Depth in the playoff is important.
Yeah, but come on now. You're an NBA guy. They've lost ground since making this trade, and they've lost ground since getting both Kyrie and KD back. They're losing games. They're losing ground in the play-in tournament with KD and Kyrie both back because they don't have Simmons. I mean, if those role players were that good, once Kyrie was deemed eligible, they'd be winning all these games. Instead, they're losing to playoff teams. Lost to Milwaukee, lost to Atlanta. I mean, they're going backwards. You'd have to acknowledge that right now.
Yes, I do.
And they've played themselves into the tougher play-in spot. They're going to be in the 9-10 most likely, which means they're going to have to win 2 elimination games just to then what? Get the Heat?
With now Simmons, without Simmons playing in any games, if he even can play in that series.
I mean, it's going to be a tough road for the Brooklyn Nets to get to Memorial Day. They're going to have to go no worse than 6-3 against 3 playoff teams just to get to the 2nd round. No games in the NBA last night, though. Anybody notice that? That the NBA, unlike some other sports, the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL tried to schedule something for last night just to get in the way of the tournament.
But how, remember the NFL used to get out of the way of Game 7 of the World Series, and, the NFL would maybe, do some favors for college football. The NBA said to college basketball, you know what, it's your night. It's your night. Have at it. Would the NFL say that?
Never.
NHL last night.
In fact, the NFL issued a press release last night condemning what the NBA did.
Well, in fact, the NFL, I think, encouraged teams, listen, if you're going to make a deal, could you make it Monday?
No NBA games. We can get a lot of extra spotlight.
Can't give college hoops all this ink. Toronto went into Tampa Bay and whooped them, the Lightning last night. 6-2. Austin Matthews with a hat trick. The Lightning, continue to lose to good teams in the East.
Yes, they do.
In fact, they've lost just about 2 out of every 3 that they've played against the playoff teams in the East. It's alarming at this point. And secondly, the loss, combined with Boston's 3-2 overtime win over Columbus, technically dropped the Lightning to 4th place and a wild card spot, which would mean a first-round series with Carolina if the playoffs started today. Mark, that is the only light at the end of the tunnel that I see, because the Lightning own the Hurricanes.
They have been very dominant this year against them. There's no doubt there.
And took them out in 5 last year in the playoffs. And, St. Louis 5-1 over Arizona. The Blues strengthening their playoff positioning. And Calgary took a big step to winning the division by beating the Kings in Los Angeles last night 3-2. They're 5 points up in the division, and they've got 3 games in hand.
That was a feisty little game last night.
Well, I mean, come on. Calgary, with their head coach, they're going to be feisty. Could be a tough out in the playoffs. I actually think they'll be the toughest out for Colorado if they can get to Colorado. Baseball news. First off, former 2-time National League batting champion Tommy Davis, a legendary Dodger, died at the age of 83. Cardinals announced Albert Pujols will be their DH on opening day, which will make 22 straight years he is in the opening day lineup, tying Hank Aaron and Carl Yastrzemski for the second most opening day starting appearances. Pete Rose with 23 in a row, number 1. The Rays made 2 trades yesterday. I don't know, Mark, which one is more interesting. They traded right-handed pitcher David McKay to the Yankees for $1. All right?
$1?
$1.
How do you feel about yourself when you get traded for $1?
Would you rather be Freddie Charles, future considerations, or would you actually want to know that your value was $1? He's a 27-year-old righty who missed all of last year with a hip injury. And the Rays then, in the middle of the night, traded Austin Matthews. No? Meadows. Yeah, don't get the hockey player with the baseball player.
Matthews had the hat trick.
Right. Austin Meadows to the Tigers for a 23-year-old utility infielder who's been a disappointment, Isaac Paredes, and a compensatory draft pick. Meadows is 27 next month. He had 27 homers and 106 RBIs last year. They've got him under team control for 3 years. And he's a left-handed hitter who's going to fit in really nicely in the middle of the Tigers lineup. He could have Baez hitting third, Cabrera hitting fifth, Meadows hitting cleanup. I mean,
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
He's making $4 million. Cubs, by the way, signed Johnny Cueto, or the White Sox, signed Johnny Cueto with Lance Lynn's injury. And that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So some interesting trades yesterday, NFL and Major League Baseball.
An hour away, Curtis Strange, Pat Kirwan in the Great 8 on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That one shining moment.
I'm not a one shining moment guy anymore.
What is the origin of that song and its association with March Madness?
Ooh, early 80s. They did it to wrap up one of the NCAA tournament runs. I thought it was early 80s. Is it Louisville, UCLA in 80, or did it come shortly after that?
What, people just loved it so much that they just
People
did
loved
again,
it. Yes.
and
I
again,
don't know how.
and again, and again. Dun 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 dun. The ball is tipped.
Wow, it's an interesting story.
87.
David
First-
Barrett writes it. Guys from Ann Arbor wrote it while watching Larry Bird play at the Varsity in East Lansing.
No.
Passed the song along to high school friend Armin Contain, who passed it along to CBXX creative director Doug Towie. Now
That's pretty cool.
I think we could do this.
yeah. I've got the Wikipedia thing up here.
Good.
I hate the song.
Boy, interesting. They were going to do it. Keep reading. They were going to do it after the Giants Super Bowl win over Denver.
Wow. My high school senior year was the first time that was playing.
You're running for your life. You are a shooting star.
Now, Paul, you're dating yourself there with a Paul Warfield reference.
All right. You know what? How about that being the poll question? Do you like one shining moment?
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. No, it's cheesy.
Can you have a third one? Used to, but I'm over it.
Jump the shark?
Yeah. It did, but it jumped the shark. Because it's cheesy as you never liked it.
Bingo.
The third one is I used to like it. Now, I will say Bill Self's tooth is looking great. Probably the best it's looked in a long time.
Did you say his toot?
Toupee.
Toupee.
As in toupee.
Oh, okay, gotcha. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us on this first Tuesday of April, the day after Kansas rallies from 15 down at the half. Biggest rally in the history of the men's championship game at the half. Jayhawks take down the Tar Heels late, 72-69 for the fourth ever championship in school history. Second under Bill Self. So you got Self with 2, Jay Wright with 2, and do you count Pitino as having 2 because they took away the 2013 title at Louisville after the fact? He, of course, had the 96 title at Kentucky.
Did he cut the nets down?
Yes.
Then he won the title, David.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just,
No.
Technically, the title was quote unquote vacated.
I like what you said earlier during the break, by the way. If you were Grand Poobah, what was your first? You said this during the break, and I think it's worthy of air. If you were named commissioner of the NCAA, the first thing you would do is?
Oh, if I was Mark Emmert, yes, I would say, okay, enough with the vacated stuff. We're going to reinstate all of this because, one, I wasn't crazy about it when it happened, but 2, I think it looks absolutely preposterous right now, considering we're in the days of the Wild Wild West. So, Michigan, you get to put your Final Four banners back up there for the Fab Five. UMass with Camby, Memphis with Derrick Rose. Yeah, all of you. Yeah, Louisville, the national title, absolutely. Put it back. You won. Right, and then we're going to fill in all the empty holes in our history. And, hey, your job today, go on Wikipedia and, fix it all. Yes. I would do the same thing, by the way, if I was commissioner of baseball. Like one of the first things I would do is I would lean on the Baseball Hall of Fame and go, yeah, we got to get this Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose thing settled. And we have to do it right now. Right now. When's the next time by your bylaws and all that? Because I could intervene and say we're going to do this tomorrow. But when is the first time by, the bylaws and what committees are supposed to vote when? When is it? But I would change the rule that was changed over 30 years ago, which was, hey, if you're on the permanently ineligible list, you are ineligible to be considered for the Hall of Fame. I've never thought that one should jive with the other. I've always thought at the bottom of Pete Rose's plaque, it should read banned from baseball for gambling in 1990 or 91, whenever it was. I think it was 90.
It's very simple.
Should be the last line on the plaque.
Tell the story.
Yeah.
That's what the Hall of Fame's there to do, is to tell the story. Tell the complete story, not part of it.
So Self, Jay Wright, Pitino, who's clearly in his last years. He's in his 70s now, and he's at Iona, so not a serious threat to, although it is the same conference at which St. Peter's came from. In fact, Iona won the regular season and beat St. Peter's last time they played, in fact. But we digress. Izzo's got one, Boeheim's got one, Calipari's got one. I mean, Scott Drew's got one. I mean, there are a lot of guys out there that have one. But, with Coach K, first Roy Williams and now Coach K, with them stepping aside, then, who is it that is, the guy that we, look to, or that elite upper echelon of coaches?
It was Jay Wright until he took the suits off. The pandemic killed it for Jay Wright. Because he looked the part, too.
Did you see the one quote in which there was a coach that said before the Final Four this year, you do know we were all wanting to ditch the suit. And when the pandemic hit, we were like, oh, this is great. But we all had to check with Jay Wright first, because if he kept wearing the suits, we were screwed. But
I'm not sure why you're screwed because none of you are going to look as good in the suits as he is.
Right.
You know, he's 6'4", he's a good-looking dude. I
Right.
mean, he wears a suit well.
He does.
There's some of us that do and some of us that don't. He wears a suit very well.
But that's what the coaches said. The coaches said basically that, it all rested with Jay Wright, especially since he had won the 2 national championships. So it's like, if Jay's going to keep wearing the suits, we're in trouble.
But Kansas last night coming back, 15-point deficit at the half, the largest deficit ever overcome in a championship game.
And technically they were down 16 late first half at 38-22, 40-25 at the break, which I think was 5 points larger. Kentucky trailed Utah, I think, by 10.
No, it was 14. It was Loyola Chicago, and 53 is the all-time record. It was just one more, and then that game you referenced there is the third largest deficit. But Kansas changed up what they were doing offensively. They brought McCormick out early in the second half. It opened some things up. They started making shots. We mentioned earlier, David says it's not a choke. I still say you lose a 15-point lead at half. There's some choking going on. And I think Hubert Davis is responsible in the second half. He needed to call a timeout earlier when the run started. And he tried to let his players play through it. Some coaches go that way. I think in retrospect, I think Hubert would say, damn it, I should have taken a timeout a little earlier and changed some things up. That didn't happen. Kansas got back in the game. North Carolina got their lead. It wasn't like that was it. And then they just blew their doors off. North Carolina responded, ended up with a 6-point lead. But in the end, Kansas cutting down the nets.
It is the Carolina way, though. I mean, Dean Smith used to let his teams play through it. He saved his timeouts to the very end often. Oftentimes Dean would have damn near his full complement of timeouts for the final minute if needed, and he could play the timeout offense for defense possession game in the final minute. Bobby Knight was a firm believer in, if you did your coaching during the week, that your players should be able to handle any situation during the game, and you let them play through it. And then there are coaches who, go through timeouts like they're Skittles.
Yeah, I'd be that guy. And I don't know if it's necessarily, strategy all the time. Sometimes it's just calming a team down.
Well, and I thought that, they committed a couple turnovers, which led to Kansas be able to get out on the break and get some easy points. And then that gets, you get you jazzed up. It gets you feeling good about yourself. So it was a bit of a perfect storm. Couple turnovers, couple bad shots.
Answered by a couple of really big shots.
Right. And next thing you know, oh, wow, here's a run. I didn't think it was an outrageous run. It was 20-6 that got them back in the game. I mean, Carolina had a 15-0 run?
Right.
Or 16-0 run to damn near end the first half. Carolina had.
Well, Carolina had a couple runs in the first half because, again, Kansas comes out, scores the first 7 points of the game, had an early lead. It looked a lot like the Villanova game.
Right.
The way that it started.
I have to admit, Carolina played a lot better than I thought they were going to. They had a lot more left in the tank. Sometimes some of us who are of a certain age forget just how, bounce back 18 to 23-year-olds are and how much energy they can refuel in a very short period of time.
Yeah, we're all worried about that, the ankle there, and that guy's hopping around. I mean, up until when he injured himself again, he played terrifically as if they're pain-free.
Unbelievably. In fact, I thought did a tremendous job on McCormick while he was as healthy, at least at the start of the game, as he was going to be at any point during the game. But the game and the broadcast ends with one shining moment. And Felipe asked us during the break, he's like, one shining moment. I mean, why is that a thing? And, when did it become a thing? And
my senior year in high school, Felipe, was the first time that ever aired, 1987. Wow. When Indiana took down Syracuse in the championship game.
In New Orleans.
Well, interesting. Well, David, you make it sound like I think it's an annoying song. I actually think it's a bop.
Well, glad you brought that up.
Because it is our poll question.
Oh.
Do you like one shining moment?
But only when it's been being played over intense college basketball highlights. And
Well, it's only played at the end of the tournament.
That's
right.
it.
That's it.
Yes.
So it's after the championship game, about 20 or 30 minutes after the team that has won, they do the ceremony. They're about ready to sign off the air. They play One Shining Moment.
And the choices are hell yes, because I don't think you can just be a yes with this. Can't stand it, which is where I fall in because it drives me absolutely bonkers. And I'm over it.
C, and I'm C, because I liked it. And now I'm over it.
Okay. Because I was going to say that I'm over it and can't stand it is a little similar. But David, to your point, you said you like it, but you're over it.
Because it's been around for 35 years.
Right.
And I don't know if it's, when I was your age when it first aired.
Right. And I haven't been around for that long.
Correct.
Yeah.
But to give you a little backdrop, it was written by David Barrett in 1986. He is a singer-songwriter from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He wrote it while watching Larry Bird on TV in, of all places, East Lansing, Michigan, while he was playing or doing a gig or whatever at the Varsity Inn.
How ironic.
Nice spot, the Varsity Inn. Wrote the song down on a napkin the next day.
Love it.
Passed the song along to high school friend Armin Catane. Nice when you've got a friend who's tied in.
And Armin worked for CBS for the longest time, and I think did sidelines even. And so Catane said, hey, I know just who should see this.
They give it to the CBS Sports creative director, Doug Towdy. And the irony is the song was not planned to debut after a basketball game, but it was supposed to air after Super Bowl 21.
Which was the Giants-Broncos Super Bowl, first one the Giants won.
But this just in, the Super Bowl ran long, David.
Imagine that.
And although it doesn't say here, they had a primetime show on CBS to debut in the next time slot.
Hey, that 10 o'clock Eastern 1 hour drama that they're trying to give 50 million people to see it for the first time. We want this show to work.
So they scratch it. And then CBS asked if they could use it for the men's 87 championship game.
Which was only 2 months later.
People loved it. And the rest, they say, is history.
That one shining moment.
Don't. Thank you.
All right, gotcha.
No. It's first off, it wasn't that good, but it's way too early for bad karaoke. Way too early.
Gotcha.
Afternoon drive, maybe. 13 minutes after the hour. Ooh, hour?
I'm going to go to the gym after and
right.
put on loudspeaker.
You want to walk down the hall and do it?
No. I'm going to hoop with,
There you go.
You're going to make your own montage?
I'm going to look at the imaginary camera and be like, let's go. And one.
You and I can both see him doing that too in and around his dorm room. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Fam, that's one of the best flexes, oddly specific flexes I've ever seen. You've watched every single One Shining Moment live. Couldn't go to bed until it was over. Wow.
I will say the last time that I intentionally stayed up to watch it was when Louisville won the title in 2013, because that was the year FGCU made the Sweet
Right.
16 run. So I wanted to see, how many times they were in it and
A
what clips
lot.
they used. Yeah.
It was the same thing for St. Peter's. I watched it in the last commercial break.
Oh, you just watched it?
Mm-hmm. So good. What's that quote? The something in the agony of defeat.
The thrill of victory and the agony of
Thrill
defeat.
of agony.
The
Or
thrill
the
of
thrill of
victory
victory and the agony of
and
defeat.
the agony of defeat.
Who said that?
Jim McKay.
Wide World of Sports was their intro. Do Tiger here and then the Saints trade, Eagles trade.
Yeah.
I just saw on Twitter, like one of those gambling sites, and I think they're like offering over under for Tiger in round one.
We already have a response on Twitter. Some traditions are meant to die.
Top 10 after first round plus 500. Top 20 after first round plus 275. Plus 175 to make the cut. Minus 250 to miss the cut. Are you kidding me? I can bet 100 and win 175 on Tiger Woods making the cut at Augusta National.
Sounds like a
I've got all kinds of props here from this Las Vegas Tribune website. Oh no, this is actually, I'm sorry. This isn't the Tribune one. This is all right. I got Tiger prop bets.
there you go.
Boy, KW, you are just cold. You are tough and cold. No trophy ceremonies, no rings. I turn the TV off. Game's over. I go into the locker room and I crack a beer and I put my feet up, take my shoes off.
The GSL series. What did that stand for?
We're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. You know, you can watch the show live every morning. The Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you have a free subscription to a Twitch channel because they own Twitch. Make the Miller and Moulton channel your channel of choice. And you can follow us, subscribe, watch. During the break, well, there are no commercials, especially if you subscribe. And so we kind of do a show within a show during the commercial break. Check it out.
Some days we try really hard during the commercials.
Most days, I think.
Other days we get up and walk around.
We have to get some water occasionally.
You can text the show as well. Text FSN Radio. That's the keyword. FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. FSN Radio. Like this listener did and said, as a Duke fan, at least I know that church cry is crying somewhere.
Well, I'll say this, not to make the Duke fan, feel any worse, but this Carolina team already had its place in North Carolina lore before last night. I mean, winning at Cameron and then making it to the Final Four and beating Duke in the Final Four, the 2022 North Carolina men's basketball team will always be talked about and celebrated. They didn't have to win the national championship. Kansas did. The 2022 team was not going to be talked about in Kansas unless they cut down the nets.
Absolutely. And North Carolina fans by this morning will already have shifted to, we beat Duke in the Final Four, beat Duke and Cameron. We had a great year.
And Hubert Davis is a young man, and we're going to have a great 20 years.
And I will say, you mentioned it earlier, David. Hubert Davis is an easy guy to root for. He's fun. He's got a lot of energy. Was a great, despite losing, it was a great night for him, if you know what I mean. And he got out-coached.
A little bit. I will say, don't think he had nearly as much to work with. I mean, he had 5.5 guys. I mean, what adjustments could he make? And once one of his big two down low re-injured himself, I mean, we didn't think they'd be able to handle the big fella with what they entered the game with, never mind with what then took place during the game. I mean, the fact that Carolina held him to 72, I was surprised. I thought Kansas was going to score more than that. In fact, if you had told me before the game that Kansas was only going to score 72, I would have thought Carolina was going to win. So I think also the effect of them only having so many guys, I mean, it is a 2-game tournament, if you will. And, it's kind of like a fighter, Mark, that for a couple of rounds during the 12-round fight, they just, all of a sudden, they get flat-footed again. I just thought Carolina was flat-footed for a moment, and Kansas took advantage of it and got themselves back in the fight. And then over the final 10 minutes, two pretty even teams. I think the team that won was the better team. And they easily could have lost. Our poll question stems from the end of the game. Do you like one shining moment? Hell yes. Can't stand it. Over it right now, the leader early on. Curtis Strange, Pat Kirwan coming up in the 8 o'clock hour today on Miller and Moulton. Kansas didn't cover the 4. So Carolina lost but covered. And speaking of bets, there are quite a few of them out there concerning one Tiger Woods, who is still in the field. And we were guilty of it too, at times framing it over the last week as if Tiger had to put himself in the Masters. No, actually, Tiger put himself in the field years ago. Tiger has to take himself out of the field. He's yet to do so.
And here are some prop bets for one Tiger Woods for the Masters. To win the tournament, 50-1. Same number to be the first round leader, which if I'm betting a 50-1, I'd bet first round leader before I'd bet win the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot 7. This is a ridiculous prop. I don't know where their head is with this one because I wouldn't bet this in a million years. Shoot 70 or lower in all 4 rounds is 40-1.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there.
Tee off in Sunday's final group, 22-1.
Wouldn't go there.
Top 5 finish, 14-1.
Mm.
I wouldn't go there.
You would throw a few shekels?
No, but I might do it on this one. Well, top 5 after round 1 is 12-1. Because I think if he's going to play well, I think it's going to be Thursday.
Okay.
Top 10 finish is 5.5-1, 11-2.
I have to admit, some of these are not nearly the odds that I thought we'd get. I mean, 2 weeks ago, it was going to be a miracle if he competed. Now his odds are seemingly not much worse than that of John Rahm.
Thank you. Top 10 after round 1 is 5-1. A top 20 finish is just 3-1.
I would throw money on that.
I would too.
Because I think he's going to make the cut.
Well, I went in order of the bets that I like the most. Top 20 after round 1 is plus 275. Another bet that I love. Love. But to make the cut, plus 175.
So I throw 100 down, I make 175.
If he makes the cut. And right now you have to throw down, it's minus 250 to miss the cut. Those are the two I'm most surprised about. Because Tiger's not playing in this thing unless he thinks he can make the cut. He's not playing he thinks he can win.
Right. Or certainly contend. Yeah, if Tiger plays, I'm betting on him to make the cut.
Well, and I think that's the only thing you're really betting against right now is whether between now and Thursday he decides he can't make a go of it. Because I actually think that number will change significantly the moment he says he's playing.
There's a whole other tournament here, and I don't know if we'll get into it with Curtis Strange coming up in a little more than 30 minutes' time, but it's what I mentioned last hour. It's been an interesting start to the golf season. The top 10 players in the world when the season started, none of them have a win. Scottie Scheffler was ranked outside the top 10 before the season started. Hell, he got his first tour win 2 months ago, but he's won 3 times since. And now he's the number 1 player in the world. But when the season started, he was outside the top 10. So, the names that we're used to talking about lately, Rahm, a DJ, a Koepka, a Justin Thomas. I don't know if Spieth was technically back in the top 10 or not. He's not had a great start to this year. But when the season started, he may have been back in the top 10. Never mind Rory and the like. None of these guys have won. They've had moments, though. I mean, DJ looked really good at the match play. So did Koepka. For the first time this year, certainly for the first time since he dyed his hair blonde. I mean, man, was that a bad career move? Dyed his hair blonde, all of a sudden couldn't play golf anymore.
It's not a sport for people to dye their hair in, David. I don't know what to tell you. But you are right. In the Masters is usually the play. We've never had a first-time winner, first time at the course winner. Fuzzy's the last one to do it and whatever. So these guys who are winning for the first time shown at Augusta, the odds are stacked heavily against you.
I mean, we haven't had a Schauffele or a Morikawa win, have we?
Nope.
The guys who all ended last year, who dominated the Ryder Cup, quite frankly. And so, all right, a lot of guys do their early season schedule, and it's all geared up for this week. So do the big boys return to being the big boys this week? Usually they do.
Two opposite sports, but it was the same thing in NASCAR, and finally had the old guy win last week at Richmond. Is it time now for the old guard to step up and take back over at Augusta? I say yes.
I love it. We're talking about Shoffley and Rahm as the old guard. Sports in a good place. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So, Johnny McDonald, my buddy, sent me a thing. If we want to get in it, if I might get in it, it's $20 an entry for a Masters pool. Last year paid like $9,600 to win.
For $20?
700 entries.
Is it winner take all?
Winner gets 65%. Winner got 9,100 last year.
That'll work.
So you got one in each flight. So you can get Rahm. The C flight's interesting.
Where's Tiger?
Not even on there. You could write him in the C flight. Literally could write him in. But like you got Cameron Champ, Swartzel in the C flight, Danny Willett, Molinari, Kokrak, Kisner, Homa.
Ooh, I'm a Max Homa guy.
What about there, though? Hoagie. This is his first time there, though. I can't imagine he's going to play that well.
What's it, Homa's first or second?
I don't know the answer to that.
Canada relief.
Here's
It's in
a-
Qatar. I mean, I don't know how many U.S. soccer fans are going to go. Now, English fans, I think, will go. I really don't know how many soccer fans will go to U.S. soccer fans will go to Qatar. Homo played last year. Thanks, Sled Puppy. I think I'd have to go Tiger. If I'm gonna lose here, I gotta lose with Tiger in my field. I can't have taken Kokrak or Kisner or Homa as much as I like them. Canada relief. I'm not an idiot. I understand that. It's just that
Right. Around the world.
I just don't. I mean, that's not convenient. It's not cheap.
Let's see. Let's see what a flight to
It's
Qatar
not
costs.
it's not a great time. I mean, also, I don't know how safe I'd feel as an American in Qatar. To be brutally honest.
You're talking $13.20 to get there. Let's see.
Let's go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Curtis Strange will join us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan 1 hour from now here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Our poll question at that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton, at FL Sports Network on Twitter, and at floridasportsnetwork.com. We wrap up the national championship game the way the national championship broadcast is wrapped up, with one shining moment. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or, I used to be thumbs up, but after 35 years of it, I'm kind of over it, which is where I am. You're a thumbs down.
I am.
Always have been?
Always.
Huh. Interesting.
And I'm going to turn the volume up, please.
Oh, and you should be. You should be at your age.
At what time today will you be getting the tripod out and the cell phone and going to the lot and making your own one shining moment video?
Is it going to be in your head when you go into the spring training game? Last one of the year?
No comment.
Well, it's radio, so in the future, feel free to comment.
Catch me at the FGCU Rec Center basketball courts.
Right. That's
if you want the smoke. If you want the smoke.
Oh my goodness. We shouldn't encourage him. We really shouldn't.
For this one, I am, because I actually could see Felipe filming himself making 4 or 5 layups, editing together a video and putting it out and thinking it's spectacular. Because the kid oozes confidence, and I love every bit of it.
It's so funny. He oozes it in so many ways, and yet in some ways he's so vulnerable.
That's the best part, because it builds, and you can squash it like a grape.
Once again, I'm that guy. When there's clearly someone better than me, like in front of me, and I'm guarding him, I'm like, oh, good layup. Nice layup. Oh, nice shot. Oh, nice shot. You know, to get it in his head. Why are you being so nice?
No
What?
one,
It was,
no one.
I'm not. I'm just
you-
encouraging you.
You're not playing for anything.
Oh, I know.
I mean, this.
but it's so funny.
This is
I love.
this is
I
something that people care less about
I
than
know.
your fantasy football team.
I know.
And you yet, as much
Right.
as we tell you,
I'm just.
Right. Don't bring it to the show.
I'm just telling
You
the
just
audience
bring it
how
to
I
the
am.
show. a show.
I love.
telling
messing
the
with
audience
people.
how I am. By the way,
I love getting in people's
on the
heads.
Miller and Moulton show. Like,
Right.
the audience is although you know what, Felipe, you've made an impact. I have not shared this with you. I have not shared this with you, Mark. So, my daughter, has a child. Our granddaughter is a little over 2 months old.
I'm glad you knew that it was a granddaughter.
Yeah, that was
Well,
a little. Yeah.
I didn't think,
Pause.
think about
Yeah,
I've
daughter.
only seen her twice. All right, so I had to, make sure. But one was just this past weekend. So,
I've
you know.
only seen her twice.
well, I mean, I had 2 weekends with her anyway. So, our granddaughter, at that age, there's a few things that get your attention. She's enraptured with the fan.
Yes.
And Felipe, you'll learn this when you're raising a child. You name things. You name stuffed animals. And so the fan got a name, when you're cooing with your child. And so I forget whatever name the fan was. It started with an F. You do the whole alliteration thing. But because they watch and listen to this show from afar, they have renamed the fan Felipe.
You're kidding.
No. So our granddaughter, when she's laying there and looking up, okay, and no matter what room they're in, there's a fan, I think, in every room. All right. So every fan has become Felipe because of you, just by listening to this show. So there you have it. Now, I will say I had a long chat with my granddaughter over the weekend. She doesn't give a damn about your playground game. She doesn't want to hear it.
I know no one
Okay,
cares
about your game.
I know no one cares.
All right. But
But you still feel the need.
Right. I mean, she cares about you. They've named the fan after you. They don't want to hear about your pickup game.
My biggest secret.
No.
No.
You take the fan. You've been,
You just got a
fan
huge
has
compliment.
been named after you. Take your win. All right. And now go back to the sideline and do that fake clap into the camera that you're practicing. Right. There you go. Miller and Moulton.
Boy, did you just encourage him.
Well, once again, you're trying to build. Please, he's so vulnerable. I mean, we're just trying to help him along. Can you explain this Eagle Saints trade to me?
No, I can't. I mean, we can get through the particulars again that we.
It's a fascinating deal from the Saints' perspective. What are they thinking? For those that didn't hear about this deal, the Eagles and the Saints, Philly had 3 first-round picks. They had 15, 16, and 19 in this year's draft. They traded 2 of those 3 picks, the last 2. They held on to 15. They traded 16 and 19 to the Saints. In return, they got the Saints' first-round pick, which is 18. So now Philly has 15 and 18. The Saints have 16 and 19. And, one team sent a 6th rounder and another team sent a 7th rounder to each other, whatever. But in return, the Saints bought a second first-round pick, but gave up not just this year's first-round pick, but they gave up a 3rd-round pick in this year's draft, a 1st-round pick in next year's draft, and a 2nd-round pick in the 2024 draft, all to acquire an extra 1st-round pick. And Philly's like, oh, hell, okay, we go from 3 to 2, but now we'll have 2 first-rounders next year, and we pick
2
up a
second rounds the following year,
and now 2 or 3 third-rounders this year as well. So,
which,
yeah, sure, we'll do this deal.
Which, from Philly's standpoint, gives as you all know, gives you plenty of moves. You with the 2 first-round picks, you can move up if you want to. You can take both, but it also will help you out when these contracts come to fruition and you have to re-sign players. Next year, which doesn't seem to be next year, which is a much more rich quarterback draft. Philly now has some draft capital if they're done with Jalen Hurts and they want to go move up to get one of the quarterbacks that are thought of a lot more highly than this. And in New Orleans, what are they going to do? 16-19. It seems that they would be going up with this. David, the irony is the last time they had 2 first-round picks and they made a move similarly, they just stood back and took 2 players.
Well, and I think they're wanting to take 2 players. I don't think they're positioning for a quarterback. I don't. Could be wrong, obviously, but I don't think they are. I think the Saints have 3 glaring needs: tackle, wide receiver, safety. And they're looking at themselves thinking, well, we got to get 2 of them here in the first round. So which 2 are we going to get? Now, there's one great safety above all others. Hamilton, the kid from Notre Dame. They probably can't get him at 16. Don't think he falls that far. So they're likely going to miss out on him. The Saints do have a second-round pick, and they do have a late third. I think it's an early compensatory pick, like 98 or something like that. So the Saints have 4 picks in the top 100. They've got 3 in the top 50, Mark. If I had to wager right now, I think the Saints go tackle and wide receiver in the first round. Now, they may have to use some resources to trade up and get a tackle, but I think they go tackle and wide receiver in the first round, and they go safety at 49 in the second round. And then the Saints are basically like, well, our draft is done. We don't have a lot of cap room anyway, and we're good. We've got 3 starters. We came out of this year's draft with 3 starters. We're working our way out of salary cap, you know what. And the Saints think they can contend in the South. They're not conceding at all.
It's an elite defense. It really is, David.
Well, and certainly it is against Tampa Bay. I mean, let's face it. They got the Bucs number.
But they have a really good defense.
They do. They do.
And this is a wide receiver rich draft. There should be a good receiver for them at either spot. As you said, what tackle is going to be there remains the question, because I've seen some mocks where 2 and 3 tackles are going in the first 7 picks.
Oh, I think 4, or I think the Saints are counting on there are 5 first-round tackles, and they're going to get one of them. Now, I don't know if they're going to get a left tackle, though. And Teron Armstead was a left tackle. They may have to draft the right tackle and move their guy over and all that. But the Saints believe, and, you know, let's encourage them here. NFC soft. You got 3 teams, and then you got the rest of the conference. Why can't they go, listen, as you said, we got a really good defense. We're going to get Michael Thomas back healthy. Maybe, you know what? We're due to have Kamara play 14 or more games.
Well, and what did Jameis learn? You know, it's incomplete last year. He got hurt. We don't know what we were going to get out of Jameis.
But they know.
No, but I mean, they had a year with him behind Breeze. They think they know.
Right? I mean, this is now the 3rd year Jameis has been with them. You know, he didn't play the whole 1 year, and he was playing last year before he got hurt. And the new head coach has been the defensive coordinator the whole time. So he's seen Jameis for 2+ years.
I think they're a playoff team with Jameis.
I definitely think they're a playoff team with that
This
defense.
is the NFC.
In that conference.
Absolutely, Felipe. I'm with you.
Did you know that he has the 2nd most passing touchdowns before turning 25 in NFL history?
Well, he came in, I think he
Young.
was technically starting at 20 also. I mean, Jameis was young.
Yes, he came in young.
So,
Still.
you know, I mean, he kind of had a year with that stat, which most players don't get.
Which means he probably holds the record for most interceptions for quarterbacks under the age of 25. Okay?
Could be right.
So as you say that, I would hope that, and I know you don't have both stats there, but I'm willing to bet that he holds the record for most picks.
Or he's top 3.
No.
One.
I'm not even messing around with 2 or 3 here.
Oh, hell, his last year there, his age 25 year, he threw over 30 of them.
Right.
One of the strangest quarterback seasons ever.
No doubt.
5,000 yards.
No
33
doubt.
touchdowns. 30 interceptions.
And so the Saints view themselves as legitimate contenders for the South, never mind for the NFC. Now, I don't know if How many others share that view? But they do, and they're not conceding.
But they look at it and think they're clearly better than the other two teams. Yeah, okay, let's just say they've had Tampa's number, but they know, just looking at Carolina and Atlanta, that they should be able to line up. That's 4 wins.
Put it this way, with as difficult as the AFC is, pick a team not named Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC, and then pick the Saints and go, if we did a poll question of which team do you think goes further in the playoffs? Because the Saints are saying, hey, we can easily be one of the top 4 teams in this conference. Well, that gets us in the divisional round. And with our defense, and we'll take our chances. These guys don't scare us.
Yeah, there's going to be an NFC team that I don't want to say comes out of nowhere, but there's going to be a team not named the Rams, the Bucks, or the Packers that's going to have somewhere around 11, 12 wins. It could be the Cowboys again.
Now, the Saints moved up their 2023 draft is what they did. And then, another indication that they're all in. They're making their push and they're making it now, and they think it's going to last a little while because they essentially traded a 1, a 2, and a 3 for this year's 1. Think they gave up too much?
I do. I don't like the trade from New Orleans' standpoint.
If they get 2 starters, and let's just say I'm right, they get them at tackle and wide receiver. 2 starters. And they don't have to be, Tristan Wirfs at 14 turns out to be one of the best draft picks in the history of the Buccaneers. But they get 2 good players. Just 2 good players. They come in, they start, and everybody goes, a good solid starter. At tackle and wide receiver. Makes them interesting.
But I don't see that they're going to get the production out of a rookie tackle that they would need to be a contender. They will get one. David, a lot of teams are going to make the playoffs in the NFC that we don't think are going to be that quality or have that much quality. So can they get there? Sure. Regardless of how this comes out, I don't like this trade for New Orleans.
So an interesting deal. The Eagles still have 2 first-round picks at 15 and 18. Now the Saints have 2 first-round picks at 16 and 19. This makes 8 teams that have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft? 8 teams now have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft.
Which means the draft should be fascinating.
Yes.
This has got David Moulton written all over it. This is a dream draft for you with this many teams having multiple
I'll
picks.
tell you what, though, if I was televising the draft, I would get into the strategy, not so much the players, but the strategy of needs and who needs what. Curtis Strange to talk Masters live next. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf,
where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, that's right. The Diamondbacks exist. Oh, nice grab. Oh,
I
nice.
just text Curtis. We're calling in 5 minutes. He gave me a thumbs up. ESPN Westwood 1.
I put on the line Curtis Strange.
Got it.
There are certain people that I don't think need a damn thing. He would be on that list. All right. Can you just humor me here for a second?
Sure.
You were doing that. All I was thinking about is, all right. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to find, there really isn't. If you're trying to find the Bengals, you would think NFC for this year, last year's Bengals.
Right.
Come out of nowhere.
Sure.
First off, there weren't that many awful teams in the NFC by record.
Well, Lions, Giants.
Lions, Giants, Panthers.
Right.
Bears, kinda. They won 6.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, you'd have to, I think, because of the division, you got to look at a team that can make a big jump in the division. Well, would it be Seattle?
They were 7 and
I
10
know,
though.
but technically they were last.
No, I know, and they got rid of Russ. I'm just. Oh, more thoughts and prayers are coming. I didn't see that. There was a Dallas concert where.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Sacramento.
I know that one too, but no, just one dead, 11 injured in Dallas.
Yeah. Yep. Thoughts and prayers should do it.
Usually does.
Yep. Has so far.
Yeah, because they've gone away.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Thanks so much for being with us on this first Tuesday in April. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. And it's a pleasure to be joined by a longtime friend of the show, Curtis Strange. He's busy this week between ESPN and Westwood One calling the Masters. Curtis, it's David and Mark. Thanks for making time for us. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks always for having me. Good to talk to you again.
Listen, anything going on there? Is there any excitement?
I will say this I did all my pre-research of all the young kids are playing. Well, the top 5 in the world are 20-somethings. The old guy is Patrick Cantlay at 30. You got this, you got that. But there's one guy that stole the show here this week and until he tees off on Thursday, and that's Tiger Woods. And it's great to see him back. He's playing well. He looks like he's walking reasonably well. And just to have him back, the excitement is off the charts, guys.
Curtis, you don't think there's any way he pulls out at this point? I mean, it was one thing to show up last week by private plane and play, and there was rumors that he looked good. But with the patrons yesterday for a practice round and it being a little bit more public, at this point, do you see any way that Tiger's not teeing it up on Thursday?
No, to answer your question, and let me explain that. It's the preparation to go into where he is right now for the last month or two. He knew a while back that his leg was going to be okay. Now he's got to get in some kind of golf shop shape. And let's not forget about the back. We just did a Sports Center hit. I said, we have not mentioned his back after 5 surgeries all week long. The leg probably is going to be okay. He looks like he walks a little stiff-legged, but that's the nature of the accident that he had. But it's supposed to rain 2 inches here this afternoon and tonight. What that does, this is already the hilliest golf course on tour all year long. And if you put the rain on it and make it soft, it makes the walk even harder. That affects the leg, yes, the calf muscle, the quads, the butt, and the lower back. So let's not forget that the back is still an issue, but I think he tees it up. How well he does once he tees it up is yet to be seen.
Those that have followed him have said that he's not hitting it like DeChambeau and Rory, but that he's hitting it between 280 and 310, and that when he needs to, he can reach kind of Justin Thomas length. Curtis, this is a long course, and it's going to play long if you're getting the rain that's forecast. I mean, I never thought I would ever ask this question about Tiger Woods, okay? Is he long enough to win?
Well, yes, he is. I think first we have to put all this in perspective. A little over a year ago, 13, 14 months ago, he was laying in a hospital bed with double compound fractures and a destroyed right ankle. So I think him just being here and trying to play is phenomenal. It shows his spirit. It shows what you can do, although the body only heals but so fast. And I think that for him to play well here, length is not going to be the issue, as you just asked. But because he knows the course so well, he's such a strategic type player. He's smart. He knows every inch of this golf course. I think that's going to serve him well to play reasonably well. I think he has a wonderful chance of making a cut and playing okay. But to ask, is he going to be on the leaderboard late on the weekend? More than likely not. But you know what? We've learned a long time ago not to question this guy.
Who do you expect to have a great week this week?
You know, I can't help but think, doing all my research for the last 2 or 3 weeks and watching golf every week, I'm so impressed with these young kids now. Scotty Scheffler has been phenomenal. He's won 3 of his last 5 tournaments. We have Morikawa, who's 24, who's a 2-time major champion. We have Victor Hovland, who's 24, who's 6-time winner around the world. I mean, the list goes on and on. Patrick Cantley is a wonderful player. And then you have some of the older guys, and I want to mean older, just 30. You have Justin Thomas, who is the favorite in many guys' eyes. I actually like John Rahm just because I think being the U.S. Open champion gives him that little ounce of confidence that he's done it before. But the list goes to be 10 or 12 deep at guys that could win here that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Curtis Strange joining us from Augusta. He'll be working a lot this week between ESPN and Westwood One. Curtis, when you played, did you guys have the seemingly joy that is being showed towards Tiger right now, towards Jack and Arnie, when they were playing against you guys, you know, and it's your tour at that time. It's you guys in your prime, and that there's Jack and there's Arnie, because it's all the guys that you've mentioned's tour in one respect, but yet they are all giddy at the thought that Tiger is going to be competing against them this week. Were you ever that excited to be going up against Jack and Arnie?
You know, it's a great question, and I can certainly understand. Jack won this tournament 46. Tiger is 46 or just 46 now, so we were all glad to see him still playing. When he got up on the leaderboard late in 1986, everybody was tickled to death to see that. Did we think he would pull it off? Well, you never know, but he had such a great finish and won. Tiger at middle 40s, anybody that gets to their middle 40s that has been, you know, arguably one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 greatest players of all time. And I'm not talking about just Jack or Tiger, but, you know, Arnie and the rest of the great players, Casper and whoever through the years. You know, you love to be around them. You want to see them play more than they really do play because you love them. You respect them so much. You admire them so much, and you want to watch them play more. Age keeps you from doing that, but now Tiger is in that stage of his life. He is so loved here this week by players, by the patrons, and by those of us watching from afar on TV. And I can't overstate that. Everybody is so happy to see him playing, not only coming back from injury, but just seeing him playing in general at his age, because he's still competitive. I mean, when you're that good, when you've been that good in Tiger and Jack's situation, you're always competitive, because if you're not going to play.
You mentioned the rain we're going to get the next couple of days. What's that going to do for Thursday? It's going to soften it a little bit. It is Augusta. The greens can be approachable, I would think, with the wetness. Do you think there's a chance for some low numbers to start this tournament off?
Well, anytime you get softer conditions, even though it will play longer here, it bodes well for lower scores. Hard and fast conditions here are the toughest conditions, and more so just because of the green. It'll be, they made a couple of changes to 11 and 15, a little bit longer, 15 and 20 yards respectively. But that won't affect scores. That'll affect just rain effects, yes. And the rain affects the walk. And you go back to Tiger, it will affect his lower body and his back. But it's going to affect everybody. You just stay patient. You have to, here at Augusta, if you get too aggressive, and if you try to make something happen other than let it come to you, it will bite you in the ass every single time. Trust me, I know. So you have to let it come to you, play the course, take what it gives you, and add them up at the end of the day.
I know we haven't seen it yet in tournament conditions, but they've made changes to 3 of the holes. Is there any change this week that you think that we'll notice in our living rooms that it made it either easier or harder on a hole?
If the play is easier or harder, well, they're never going to make a change to make it play easier. But 11 is lengthened 15 yards. It's an easier tee shot and a better looking hole. It will play slightly longer, but it's a better hole. They took out a lot of the trees on the right and left a few. It's really a beautiful, better looking hole. 15, they added the par 5, which has always been reachable by most everybody in the field. They've added 20 yards there. That'll still be reachable, but it'll play a little tougher because of the shallowness of the green. Rain will help that, making the green softer. But will it affect play? Possibly a smidge, but we'll have to wait and see. But no, the golfers go through there. They play a practice round. They see the changes, and they don't think much about it. They just keep on playing. Who
do you like this week, Curtis?
Oh, I knew it was coming to that. I like a couple of guys. I like John Rahm because I think he's the best player on tour overall at the moment. He just went to number 2 in the world. Scotty Scheffler has won 3 of his last 5 events. He's 25 years old. He just went number 1 in the world. It's a lot happened to Scotty in a short period of time. Can he keep up the energy? Can he keep up the edge that he's had? It's a lot to take on at such a young age in such a short period of time. And can he win here? Absolutely. He has all the tools. But it's a different stage here at Augusta than what he's won here, than he's won in the last month. I like guys like the guys who have been playing well, but you also need some length here. I still like Dustin Johnson here every time he plays. You can never forget about McIlroy going for the slam here. This is the 8th time he'll be going for the slam. There's a host of young players. I just think it's remarkable, and I love how young they are now, how polished they are, how mature they are on the golf course, and how damn good they really are.
Curtis, we have about 30 seconds. I don't know if you saw this quote yesterday. Scheffler was asked about the expectations now being number 1 in the world, and he goes, well, the guy who picked me up in the cart this morning called me Xander. So that brought me down to earth real quick.
I had another quote that he said 2 weeks ago when he won. He says, I went to number 1 in the world, but I have to realize I'm still the same player I am today than I was yesterday. I'm just a little more confident. And that was spot on, right on, exactly. If he keeps that attitude, he will continue to improve.
Curtis, thanks for making time for us in your very busy schedule. We appreciate it. Have a great week. Soak it up, and hopefully we can catch up sooner than later.
Yeah, it'll be great. And for everybody listening, watch this week. It's going to be a terrific week as always. Thanks, guys.
Curtis Strange, part of ESPN's television coverage, and then Westwood One's radio coverage. It'll be him and Tirico, the radio booth, for the weekend. Curtis Strange, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton.
I love it. I mean, I was guilty of saying the old guard earlier in the show. It is just crazy how good the young players are on this tour, how many of them there are, how good they are. This game has not been in a better spot in a long time.
If we had the poll question, does somebody in the 20s win, yes or no, what would your vote be? Ponder that. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
On the U.S. Amateur, and we did it, I remember thinking, this guy's a star.
I wanted Wolf to be the star because he had a quirky swing.
See, and I think
I
we
they're
didn't need
all-
another Furyk.
But they're all robots out there. They all look
True.
alike. So it's just,
No, that's true.
Give me a Miller Barber every once in a while.
Hops, I never have. There was an old pitching coach from the Mets, Rube Walker, who went all the way back to the Brooklyn Dodgers days, and he felt that the way you protected a pitching arm was to throw all the time and to build up the strength in your shoulder and everything. And all those, I believed at a very early age that the best thing that you can do to your voice is use it and make it stronger. And I used to, when I was in college, and Mark, I don't know if you did this, but like I worked on my voice every day. I worked on carrying air in your diaphragm. And I used to read twice a week for years for the Reading for the Blind, because they can't read a newspaper. So you'd go to them and you'd read, and I would read the sports section to every, twice a week at whatever time to blind people. And it built up my voice to try to make it stronger. So, and I never have.
I quit smokes. I've just tried to drink a lot more scotch and whiskey to help mine out now. But to David's point, no, in all seriousness, because I didn't know how to do that. I wasn't trained. I was not trained to be a broadcaster.
Right.
Kenny Double, my mentor in the business, was the one that taught me how to speak from my diaphragm and how to carry air and be able to do that. And
one of the best tips I ever got, read the newspaper out loud as if you're broadcasting, and you realize how hard it is. And you learn to be able to speak longer without breathing, and it builds up your voice. And I mean, Felipe, I'm serious. I know nobody reads a newspaper anymore, but I mean, you could just grab Eagle News and go into your apartment and just try to read it out loud, and you realize how hard it is.
I actually used to read the Miami Herald a little bit.
Yep.
Because my dad loves the paper.
I got to admit, Canada Relief, I don't understand Wordle at all. All right, I'm lost. I see it. I don't even know how to play it.
It's not. It's like cool, but it's not that.
And
it's okay. You're good. You're not missing.
I'm
much.
okay.
I'm an idiot.
I will
now
say
with it.
There's a version of the game that's a little different. That's an NBA version, and it's called Pirtle, named after Jakob Pirtle. And there's a NFL one that's named Weddle, after Eric Weddle.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you have a fan named after you, so
There you go.
Not a person, just a thing that spins in the air.
Spins on the ceiling. But I worked on my I pinch myself every time I say like. I hate that.
Well, if you zapped, usually for most young and sometimes middle-aged broadcasters, every time you say or
Yeah.
if you got zapped, it would be painful.
Yeah.
A pause is far better than an
I used to say a lot. And believe it or not, Stan and Haney across the hall pointed it out to me. They said, you say a lot.
I can think of times where you have said though.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that too. You know what I say a lot?
No.
You feel me?
Yeah, well,
You feel me?
no.
And never do I intend to.
Oh God.
So short segment. Where do you want to go here?
How Jim Nance is having the greatest week ever.
Yeah,
He
he's
has
had
it
it
every
every year
year.
for 30 years.
Yep. It's the Jim Nance week. Call the Natty, hop on a bird to Augusta. Not bad.
No?
I wonder what he does after. Like once
Hangs
matches are
out
over.
at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I guess they also built a place near Nashville.
Is that where he has his par 3 in his backyard?
No, that's Pebble.
Oh, that's
Off the 5th hole, I think.
That's unreal. All right, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us on the Florida Sports Network. Nice of Curtis Strange to fit us into his busy schedule this week between ESPN and Westwood One. If you miss any part of the show, well, I mean, we do that podcast thing. MillerMoulton.com, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Check it out. Usually the show is posted late morning. Right, Felipe?
Yes, sir. Oh, my mic's not on. Yes, it is. I do my best.
I'll give Felipe a little bit of break. This is the only time he actually do real work. He's coming in on a break. He's got a few things going on. And not to mention, I can see that the laptop's open, so
Right.
he's talking to people in Twitch.
Right. It's the first time all day he whipped out the laptop. So I don't know if he's doing Wordle or whatever he's doing over there.
You mean Weddle or Purtle?
The Pirtle one I had not heard before, named after a fairly obscure NBA player.
It's Jakob Purtle,
Right. Like I said,
center for the San Antonio Spurs.
they don't even know that in San Antonio.
No, they do not.
Kansas, 72-69 winners coming from behind, 16 down late first half, 15 down at the half. Biggest deficits overcome in the men's tournament. Jayhawks' 4th ever national championship, 2nd under Bill Self, Jay Wright, Rick Pitino, if you don't vacate the 2013 title at Louisville, the 3 active coaches with 2 national championships.
Can I do a little something with you here?
Sure.
Because every year it seems that there's a team in the National Football League that comes out of obscurity to fool us.
A last to first thing?
Yeah, and it was the Bengals a year ago.
Absolutely.
The Cincinnati Bengals, just to remind everybody, were 4-11-1.
After going, 2-14 the year before?
Right. So as you look at the standings, to get into some bad teams, these bad teams are the Jets, the Texans, the Jags, your Giants, the Lions, and the Panthers. And I try to lean at these NFC teams because you would think it's going to be a bit easier. But that didn't really matter for Cincinnati. They did it in the tougher conference a year ago.
Right. I mean, they did it in a division in which all 3 teams had made the playoffs the year before. So it wasn't looking for the soft spot in the schedule or the bracket or anything like this. It was literally, well, there's no way Cincinnati will be able to speed up their product. Look at the gauntlet they've got to go through.
And I know it's not going to happen, but the only team that makes logical sense to pick in this, because what did the Bengals have? They had a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one team that I listed in that whole mess that has a quarterback.
Now, you do know there are so many jokes I can insert here before you give the answer.
Go ahead.
Jared Goff took a team to a Super Bowl, Mark.
Yes, you're right.
I mean, you got Danny Dimes in New York, Mark.
You sure do.
Come on now. I mean, Sam Darnold.
Right.
3rd overall pick of the draft.
Uh-huh.
All right. What's the real answer?
Trevor Lawrence.
Are we sure? And I'm serious. Are we sure? Do we know what we're getting? Like, I will say, do you think as highly of Trevor Lawrence entering his second year as you thought of Joe Burrow entering his second year?
David, I actually can think more highly of Trevor Lawrence because Burrow was hurt.
Yeah, but he looked really good before he got hurt.
Yeah, but he was hurt. He blew his knee out. David, I didn't know if he was going to amount to anything, and none of us did. And there isn't a sane person on the planet right now that would go make a mattress Mac bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Adam in our Twitch chat room might be it. Biggest Jags fan we know.
I said a sane person.
Have you found the Jags dog collar, which has been missing seemingly for 2 to 3 years?
It was found. It was put on the dog. And then it was taken again and re-hidden.
Oh, come on. What is going on here?
She just likes to, she knows it bothers me.
Where was it all this time?
I don't know.
Wow. This is a nice little married moment she's having here, isn't it?
She finds it, all of my sarcasm and all of my blankety blank, she can just do it with one item in the house and feel as if she has scored a big win.
So you are making the case that if we were to, now you don't consider Seattle, because they were a last place team.
Right.
You don't consider them bad enough to include on this who's going to be the Bengals of this year list.
I really, and I know it's 7-10, and I know with the 17-game schedule, it's double-digit losses. I get it. But we're talking about 3-13-1 type teams doing this. This is
right. Like the Bengals had won 6 games over 2 seasons.
Right.
Right. We know what you're getting
This
at.
means Detroit. This means Jacksonville.
Well, now I know they finished 3rd in their division. Were the Bears bad enough for you to put them on the list?
I think that's a great example, David. I do. Bears were 6-11.
You think that's bad enough to include on the list?
It is. It has to be, you have to have few enough wins that it would have been a double-digit loss in a 16-game schedule to me. Don't ask me why. 7, still 7-9.
So in your head,
it's in my, I see 7, I see 7
Fair
and 9.
enough.
I don't see 7 and 10.
And when you say be this year's Bengals, we're not saying go all the way to the Super Bowl but they won 10 games in the regular season. They ended up winning their division. They were a 4 seed. You're just talking about a team that's a last place team that is considered a bad team.
And the Bears, a 3rd place team, but I still would throw them in that because they're in the same division with the Lions.
So between the Jets, Texans, Jags in the AFC,
right?
Giants, Lions, you'll include the Bears and Panthers.
Right. History shows us that typically one of these teams ends up in the postseason.
Well, for the longest time, the whole first thing was the NFC South.
And could you really see Carolina winning the division?
Absolutely not. No.
Could you even see Carolina getting the 7th spot in the wild card? I mean, could you see Detroit getting the 7th spot in the wild card?
No.
The Giants in that division.
Well, see, I actually think crazy things are possible in that division. Because I really don't know if there's a good team in the division. I think the Eagles are close to being a good team. I think Dallas, depends on the day, could be a good team.
Well, I think Dallas, don't you believe Dallas has taken a step back from the players that they've lost? Are they as good now as they were at the end of last season? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And some of the players who have been signed for the amount of money they've been signed for, there have been a couple bargains here lately in which you wonder, why wasn't Dallas in on that? So your early nomination for this year's Bengals is Jacksonville?
Is Jacksonville.
Whoa. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to think about that. I don't know if you can get me to jump in that pond.
I want to find out which pond that you would jump in, though. There's 6 or 7 ponds around there, and you've got to jump into one of them. You're hot.
And I understand the Bengals did it, and we just said they did it in a really tough division, and the tougher of the two conferences. I still think if I'm going to take a flyer on someone, I'm going to do it in the NFC.
And I understand it, but if I were to give you an AFC team, the division is certainly the one that would maybe be the most vulnerable is the AFC South.
Our poll question involves one shining moment. Are you thumbs up? Are you thumbs down? Are you, I used to be thumbs up, but now I've outgrown it? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's our poll question. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL, next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I hope the Cavs can get a home game. I would like to see the Cavs make the playoffs, if you know what I mean. How could you say Trevor Lawrence is better than Matt Ryan? I mean, we don't know that Trevor Lawrence can play. We really don't. Now, we think he can. We think he's going to be really good. But I mean, that's a Canada relief. No, of course he's declining. He's 36, 37 years old. But Canada relief, here's a legitimate poll question. In 15 years, who will have had the better career, Matt Ryan or Trevor Lawrence? I mean, Matt Ryan's a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yep.
I mean,
there's no arguing that.
I mean,
I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
All right. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback either, but he's going to be a finalist.
I would agree with that. I mean, I don't even think that's arguable, David.
And I think he's going to get in, by the way. I don't consider him a Hall of Fame quarterback, but so that's a pretty high bar that Trevor Lawrence has to reach.
How much you want to bet that one of these overreactions is Lakers missed the playoffs? Not an overreaction.
God, I don't even know if you could fake that. I would think it would have to be something about we'll fire Frank Vogel or we'll trade
Westbrook.
We'll trade LeBron. It would have to be something like that.
You know what sucks? In this offseason, Russ has a $47 million player option.
Well, I wonder if he gets traded for John Wall again.
Oh, here we go. It's building up. They're building.
Oh, I told you. Yeah.
They're building it up. Let's call
No, Paul, I don't think he was declining. He was banged up, but I don't think he was declining.
I don't really have a good ugly. Not a lot there today.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Our poll question: one shining moment. You like it? Don't like it? I used to like it, but I'm kind of tired of it now. That's our poll question. At that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton, at FL Sports Network. And you can always go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote there. And that's also where our podcasts are found going forward, which is always nice. And it's always nice to have Pat Kirwan on the show. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains weekday afternoons with his co-host Jim Miller. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and, well, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, and basketball's finally over. I enjoyed last night's game, but I'm also happy that it's done and we can return our total focus to football, or at least my focus. And, it's a crazy time just trying to figure out. The thing I'm really working on now is there enough supply for the demand in the draft? And so I've gone through, and it's all my opinion, but I think Jim shares a lot of what I think. And it's interesting when you look at, can you get a guy in the first 3 rounds that can come in and play for you at the position you need him to play? Because this stuff about the best guy on the board, we all know they take by need. One of the positions that there's a shortage in the first 3 rounds is safety.
I don't think we have 5 or 6 guys with first, second, or third round grades. And in my opinion, looking at safeties, we're going to need 10 to 12 of them. So that tells me that they're going to reach for some safeties earlier than people think. And it's true of a couple other spots. Everyone thinks it's a great draft for pass rushers, and it is. The problem is I have 15 guys graded in the first 3 rounds, and I got 18 teams that need one early. So it'll be fun to see. When we get down to like 7th, 8th, 9th pass rusher, you'll see people surprise us by taking guys earlier than you thought.
All right. Well, Pat, that leads to really where I wanted to go, in that the Saints are a team that's going to need one of those safeties. They just made this trade. Just your thoughts in general of the trade and getting more players in this draft, where you and others think it's a tougher draft than next year, to give up a lot of resources down the road. Just your overall thoughts of this Saints trade from the Saints perspective.
Yep. Giving away next year's first tells you something about their opinion of quarterbacks. Because if they wanted to take a quarterback next year, they don't have a first round pick. So that'd be the first thing. Now, are they going to package what they have and move up to something? That I don't know. So it's going to be hard to evaluate. I love this. Well, Pat, who won that trade? No one won the trade because you haven't done anything with it yet. I think they're sitting in a position where if they want to move up, they can, if they're targeting somebody. I don't think I'd be moving up for the Notre Dame safety, not after he ran 4.7. He's a good player, and he'll go probably in the top half of the first round. But how many safeties run 4.7 that are all pros? Because if you're not taking an all-pro in the top 10 picks, you got to be really nervous about that. It's not a place to be taken. I'll tell you, I like the Georgia safety very much. So if you want to take Seam down to where you are, that's okay. I think he's going to be a little bit higher than people think. So don't know where this draft is taking them. And I certainly think if I'm Philadelphia, they still have good firepower in the first round, and they have next year. And they really can trade that if they wanted to. But so far, I like what Philly's doing, and I don't think they've told us in New Orleans where they're going with this. Are they taking a quarterback here? I don't know if they're doing that either. This is not a great draft for those guys.
If you miss the trade, Eagles and Saints, Eagles traded away technically 2 of their 3 first-round picks, but they got one back. The Eagles and Saints swapped 18 and 19. And then in order for New Orleans to get the Eagles' 16th overall pick, they gave up a first-rounder next year, a third-rounder this year, and a second-rounder in 2 years. So it was a steep price to pay to buy an extra first-round pick. Eagles and Saints now both have 2 first-round picks. Eagles 15, 18, Saints 16 and 19. Pat, I see the Saints with 3 glaring needs: tackle, wide receiver, safety. They've got picks 16, 19, and then 49 in the second round. Couldn't you see them going tackle, receiver, safety with all 3 of those picks?
That's what I would do. And I think I agree with you on the needs. They're the same needs, and the draft set up for them. It does, in a way, the run on tackles. I think they'll get to a tackle, but it won't be one of the top 4 tackles. I think they go by the time they go. They definitely need a left tackle. We all know that. They need a safety. I'd wait and get the safety in the second round, like you said. I like what you're thinking, and I think they need a lot. And you know what they really need? They need cheap players. They've been in cap-strapped hell for a long time, and they've leveraged a lot of the future by giving signing bonuses out and taking down salaries. And those things haunt you later on. So if you got 3 rookie starters out of this, I think that's a good thing for them down the road.
And where they're looking for starters, is Philly, looking for a quarterback next year? Is this basically a move to give them the opportunity to move up next year when it's a little bit more quarterback-rich draft?
I could give them a year to evaluate Hurts one more time. Everyone likes Hurts. I like him. But then if you ask yourself, do I think I have a guy who's taken us to the Super Bowl? I think a lot of people would say probably not. And so you give them another year to growth and development. If it doesn't work out, they're sitting there next year with a couple of first-round picks. They'll have the firepower to move up and get a quarterback if they want. But remember, they tried to get Deshaun Watson. And maybe they're going to take those draft picks and use them in a trade for a quarterback next year. So we see a lot of that going on these days. And I think anyone who wants to move off their quarterback next year for financial reasons, like the Russell Wilson type deals, then I think you're calling Philly and saying, hey, I got a guy if you're interested. So I think they're going to have the chance to go either way with that, Mark. Trade for one or draft one.
All right, Pat, put your GM hat on. Pat Kirwan joining us once again. NFL Radio's moving the chains, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. There are now 8 teams, I believe, who have multiple first-round picks, a stunning number of teams to have 2 or more first-round picks. But is 16 and 19, if the Saints say want to put the two together, they want to get into the top 10, they want to get one of those top 4 plug-and-play tackles that you refer to. The Giants' second first-round picks at 7. Would 16 and 19 get you 7, or do you have to give up more?
No, I think it can get you that. The Giants, strapped with no cap space and money, and I've talked to John Mara about it, that, they're trying to weather another year, kind of like Atlanta, where they just don't have the cap space to do things. They might look at that and like that. The cost of each pick, as your listeners should know, it goes down. And to go down and get 2 players and reduce the cap charge for those guys, I think they would be very interested in doing that.
Pat, you said you're breaking down the draft. I know the one area you said that you talked about the safeties earlier, but the edge rushers there, the interior rushing, there is not a lot in the D tackle range, correct?
Not really. Now, I'm just getting ready for this. It's fun, but mock drafts for me are not fun as much as they're great tools to remind me of how this is going to go and what you have to do. How many guys do I think are in the first 2 rounds that play defensive tackle? I think you're stretching it if you get to 5, and more teams need it than there are 5. So you're going to see someone reach for one that should be a 3rd or 4th rounder. They might take him in the 2nd round, but I really do like I like Jordan Davis a lot, because not only is he big, massive, that can handle a double team, but he's athletic. He can run out and play the 5 technique. He's fast enough to go play outside. And I love that kind of versatility, because then you don't care what front you're in. You're not hung up with, he's a 2 gap or he's got to be in a 3-man front. He can play in any front. So I like him quite a bit. I like some other guys. Wyatt is a little older, but you're thinking, so what? One contract guy, maybe he's already 24. He'll get going early. I like Travis Jones from UConn. I spent a whole week watching that guy, and I don't really care what people say he's a 2nd or 3rd rounder. I think he could go at the bottom of the 1st. You're at the bottom of the 1st, you need a tackle, and he's not going to be there at the bottom of the next round. You might be very tempted to take him with the shortage of tackles.
Well, Pat, if you're doing the exercise, if you will, of looking at the first 3 rounds of the draft going, I think I got 15 at this position, 5 at this position. If you're a team who has a need and there are not enough guys in the draft to fill it, shouldn't you be signing some of the veterans that are available right now? And I know if I was a veteran player, I would be saying to my agent, hey, there's probably a better chance of more money before the draft than after. So if somebody makes us a good offer in the next couple of weeks, don't be afraid to tell me about it. I mean, if there's not enough pass rushers to go around, so do you kick the tires on Clowney on another 1-year deal? Tyrann Mathieu is still out there, for goodness sakes. I mean, shouldn't teams be gobbling up some of these guys?
They don't want to pay them. And one of the reasons, and you're right, Tyrann Mathieu, in my world of shortage at safety, he'd solve it for a team that doesn't think they're going to get one early. Let's go back to the Saints. Why wouldn't they just sign Tyrann Mathieu and take care of their safety issue with him? So I'm with you on that. But this is how it was when I was in it. We would be preferring to take a draft pick for lots of reasons. A 5-year contract in the 1st round, a 4-year contract in the 2nd round, cheap money for a young, talented player. So I'm the way I did it was I'd be calling up the agents for Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks, those two on the inside, saying, look, I'm not going to lie to you. We're trying to get one in the draft. But if we get to the second round and we haven't drafted a tackle because it didn't set up for us, I'll be calling you trying to sign you. If you get something before then, take it. But we're going to try to get it. And that's how you have to deal with the agents. You got to tell them the truth. We're trying to get one. Oh, by the way, you're also the agent for that rookie. I'm trying to get him first.
And I mean, is that how to drive the price down too, Pat? I mean, the longer you wait on these free agents, is it the better deal you're going to get right now, or is that irrelevant?
No, it's most of these guys are one-year contract guys, right? Calais Campbell, Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks, Brandon Williams, Clowney. David already said it, one-year deal for Clowney. Jerry Hughes, Melvin Ingram, Jason Pierre-Paul, Sue. We know Sue's going back to Tampa, so probably a bad example of him, but they're all one-year deals. There's nobody getting mega money here, not at this point in their careers. So, say for cap reasons, you might give them as a 3-year deal, but David will decipher it in 2 seconds. And no, that's really a 1-year deal with 2 dummy years on the back end so they can fit them. But the way we did is we put them on hold and said, look, at the end of the first round, we don't get a tackle in this thing, we're going to be calling you, trying to get your guy. And you and I both know it's a 1-year deal. If you get something else, good luck, take it. Because I have multiple names I just listed. I do not have to settle. On a 1-year deal on any of those guys, same thing at safety. Tyrann Matthews will get paid. But Terrell Edmonds, Jaquiski Tartt, Deshaun Gibson, Kareem Jackson, there's plenty of guys. The leverage is on the club's side. I'll give you the phantom football team. If you want an offensive lineman and you're trying to draft one, which you should, and you don't get them, you've already called Dwayne Brown, Riley Reif, Dr. Tardif, Eric Fisher, J.C. Treader. He'll get some money. Darrell Williams, Brandon Shelton. You've called all those guys and said, look, we're trying to get one in the draft, and we don't. We're going to call you. And if he says, hey, I got another deal, I'd say take it. We'll move on to the next guy because those are Band-Aids. They're not program builders.
Pat, we have 30 seconds. The Devontae Parker trade. Were you surprised the Dolphins did it within the division?
No. I think Belichick has done business in his division before. He's tapped into his division opponents before, whether it's free agency or the draft, and I think they knew that, heck, why would you trade him to New England? Because it was the best offer you got for the guy. And that's why I think a lot of this stuff goes on now a little bit more than we thought it should, but not surprised.
He's Pat Kirwan, weekday afternoons, NFL Radio Moving the Chains with Jim Miller, and he comes to us twice a week during the season, courtesy of Pinchers. From Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, be well. Talk to you Friday.
Talk to you Friday, guys.
Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. We will pick up on something that Pat alluded to on the other side as we begin our bonus hour.
And menus.
What?
Oh, we have menus too.
Huh.
I'm going to get you hungry before the rest of the show's done. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. The Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Love a side of egg salad.
I don't like egg salad.
Wow. Love me some egg salad.
In fact, I don't like most of those mixed. A good chicken salad.
Chicken salad is one of the greatest things ever, in my opinion. A good chicken salad, like you said. Like my hoagie at Wawa is a chicken salad hoagie. Get that toasted.
I've never eaten food from that gas station.
You've never eaten from a Wawa?
No.
Oh, Wawa.
I've only probably been in a Wawa 4 or 5 times.
David, so you go to Wawa every morning, I assume?
Mm-mm.
You just
A
have
lot. No, I have cups saved.
Gotcha.
I used to.
In my head, I'm like, oh,
Faithfully.
probably lives on the way from Wawa.
I did this morning because I was up late.
I've heard the cookies and cream milkshake's pretty good there.
They have a lot of good things there.
And I'm not saying I'm opposed to gas station food, so it's not that.
But it's the top tier gas station.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The Mobile down the road or that Cuban place, I'll take over Wawa.
See, that doesn't really count, though.
Why?
Because that's like its own thing.
Where is it at?
Oh, my God. I'm saying...
Where is it?
You know what I mean? Like,
Do I have to walk? Can I get gas and food while I'm there?
I'm talking about mobile food or Shell food or Marathon food, Exxon Mobil food, 7-Eleven food. Wawa food is better than 7-Eleven food.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it better than racetrack food?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably it's probably it would be your best chain gas station food.
It's the best chain
But
gas station food.
Okay. Phrase it properly.
Oh, I mean, there's a Spanish restaurant in a downstairs area in a gas station in Miami. Am I going to count that as gas station food?
Yeah. It's probably amazing. Where is it? Let's go right
So
now.
Amazing. It's off US 1 and
In.
12th Street.
We used to love going to the old OB. Okay, we used to hit the worst looking joints we could find
Are the best.
were the ones that we staggered into.
That bar we
Those
went
are
to
the
before the
best.
national championship
was
game.
amazing.
What a dump.
Do you remember what it was called?
No. Oh God, no. There hadn't been a health inspector in that place in 20 years.
Jake, it's in the Miramar Outlet Mall.
You just fully entrench yourself in Little Havana at OB.
I loved the old OB. I did. Loved everything about it.
It's in the
Loved parking on the lawn, everything.
The view of downtown through the.
That's not a Mobile anymore.
East
What is that gas
lawn.
station where Maria's is?
Maria's or Manolo's?
Manolo's, whatever.
Shell.
It's a Shell gas station in the Miramar, next to the Wells Fargo in Miramar.
I think, the only two with a shot, I think, Klecko are Bernhard and Freddie.
Here we go. It's the only gas station in Miramar outlets.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. Now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour on this first Tuesday of April with the college basketball season in our rearview mirror. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Kansas with a come-from-behind win over Carolina, biggest comeback in men's championship game history. Rock Chalk Jayhawk for the fourth time. Second under Bill Self. Self, Jay Wright, Rick Pitino. The only three active coaches with more than one national championship. It's part of the reason, I believe, Mark, that we made as big a deal as we made of Krzyzewski. I mean, he had 5. And, when you get more than 2, it's kind of like golf majors. There's that line of demarcation in which you reach another level.
Yeah, when you can get one on every finger, basically.
I really believe that is the number. It's when you get to 5 that you all of a sudden start to, because think about it. Koepka, Rory, where are they stuck? 4. Now, they're still young.
But Rory's been
Stuck.
at 4 for a while.
8 years. 2014, his last major. 2014. I mean, are we going to look back at Rory at Augusta kind of the way we look back at Marino? It was his second year in the league, and he and the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl. And what is it that everybody said? Oh, he'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, I know no one said that about the Falcons. It's a little more Falcon-esque what he did. I mean, it truly is.
Well, sure. He had the lead.
He was on the 10th damn hole.
Right. He had, a 4-shot lead at the beginning of the day, and, either tied or a 1-shot lead on the 10th tee.
And he hit a ball to a spot that the ball's never been to on that golf course before.
Correct. They didn't know if it was inbounds or not. Why? No one's ever hit a ball here. Who hit it? The guy leading the tournament. But think about how old he was then. I mean, that was 11 years ago. It was 2011 when Rory had that lead at Augusta. And he, went out and won, multiple majors after that. But what did we say? And but you know what I mean? The collective media and many fans. Oh, well, that talent, that age, he'll certainly, he'll be in this position again.
And we just rattled off about 10 guys right now that I think, most people think are all better than Rory.
Hell, I think the list is longer than that. I mean, guy can't putt. He's not an above average putter.
Nope.
I don't know how you win at Augusta without being a better than average putter.
Put it this way right now. Here are the same. These Rory's 20-1. These are the guys that are 20-1 with him. And just as I mentioned their name, Rory or the guy I'm naming, just better tournament. Morikawa.
Oh, Morikawa.
Koepka.
Koepka. Although he does not play as well there as you would think.
Hovland.
Oh, my goodness. Back up the truck.
Right. Jordan Spieth, 17-1. Hovland or Spieth?
Ooh, Spieth plays great there.
He does.
Hovland.
I mean, Shoffley's 24-1. Cantlay's 23-1. I'll take Zalatoris at 33-1 over Rory McIlroy right now.
Look at you. Falling in love with Hooked on Phonics there, Zalatoris.
Just because I could never be that skinny.
Oh, I know. I don't think you were that skinny in 8th grade.
I know I wasn't.
I definitely wasn't. But
I always looked like a fullback, but had the speed of an offensive lineman, David.
You know, Spieth's one away from the career slam. Rory's one away from the career slam. Spieth's what? The PGA that he's missing? You know, but Rory's missing the Masters. And if you start all of a sudden struggling with the putter in your 20s, that's a tough tournament to win if you can't have even a week where you're a good or better than that putter. And Rory doesn't have many weeks like that anymore. Not only that, the weakest part of his game is 150 yards.
Well,
he's one of the worst players on tour if you drop the ball at the 150 marker. So let me get this straight. He's a no better than average putter, and he's a below average wedge player. And he's going to win the Masters?
seems an unlikely equation to win that tournament.
Obviously, everybody can get hot for a week and this, that, and the other thing, but is that going to be his? Obviously, we don't know. He's going to play in 15 more of these things, we hope, but you really have to wonder. Because he doesn't even get himself on the first page of the leaderboard at Augusta on the weekend very often since. For whatever reason, we thought with his skill and his length that this would be a place where he would consist. Quite frankly, if you think about it, Spieth is consistently in and around the leaderboard at Augusta. Rory's not. But what can Spieth do?
He can putt that damn ball.
And he can get up and down from trees.
Well, it helps. It helps when you can make 20-footers all day long.
So, off on a little tangent there. Had Curtis Strange on the show last hour. Obviously, the excitement with the Masters, not for it just being the Masters, but Tiger looks as if he's going to play. Hot steaming deal.
Can't wait. Can't wait. The patrons were just excited yesterday to watch a practice round.
You are in Masters form. You're ready. You're calling them the patrons on Tuesday. You're ready.
Well, I just saw Matsuyama's Champions Dinner menu.
Oh, what do you got?
I don't know if, the first course you would have to skip. Assorted sushi and sashimi and some chicken skewers. So you could get the skewers. We'll leave you with a couple skewers.
Okay.
And then some glazed black cod. Delicious.
I'd be fine with that.
An A5 Wagyu ribeye. You'd be okay with that?
Sure.
And some Japanese strawberry shortcake.
No, I'm out.
What?
I don't like strawberries. I don't like berries. Strawberries, blueberries. Sorry.
Melrose?
Don't know what to tell you.
Raspberries?
Don't know why. What?
Bonds?
I don't like cherries, although I love black cherry soda. All right. I don't know what to tell you.
You're weird, man.
So no Melrose, no Bonds?
No,
What about grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. That's about as far down that tree as I go.
Dang.
I know.
My mother made my daughter strawberry shortcake while I was gone over the weekend. There's some left. The chance I have it for breakfast.
All right. Do you remember the Good Humor? You know, the ice cream truck?
Yeah.
Now, this was really weird because I do not like strawberries. Like, if you put a fresh thing of strawberries in front of me, I'd be like, absolutely not. Want no part of it. Not even one. No. The strawberry shortcake bar on a stick, could eat 4 of them.
So as long as it's processed and not real, give it to Moulton.
Exactly.
Hey, can we add some chemicals and color to this? I got a guy that's going to love it.
Right.
But I'll be damned if I give him this fresh strawberry. I want to go to Farmer Mike's and I want to get a pint of strawberries and dump them on your head now.
And you know what? I probably deserve that. All right. The only time I will go down that road to a small degree is the little bit of after dinner, a little sherbet, little something for the palate. Okay. I start to head down the road of things that I would not eat if they were directly in front of me.
I didn't know Golden Corral serves.
You could barely spit that out. That's funny. I resemble that remark.
It was a little mean, but I couldn't help myself.
No, that's very fair. That is very fair. With as badly as I eat, that is very fair. In fact, Golden Corral's kind of a healthy food choice for me.
I've never been to a Golden Corral.
Makes two of us.
There you go.
I don't know if we could complete the trifecta though.
Felipe, when it comes to food, you should hang around Mark. All right, you'd be a lot healthier.
So you've never tried a chocolate covered strawberry?
Yes, I did,
Fun fact, Felipe, that you do not know.
and I didn't like it.
Going all the way back to Act 1.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Oh,
as
boy.
you can tell, both David and I have what doctors refer to as a weight problem. And we eat everything
Do you
that's...
really have a weight problem?
Hell yes. I'm fat.
Huh?
I'm
Wow.
disgusted with myself right now.
That's why I refer to myself as a manatee. Okay, because I of course look at you and go, you're beefy.
I mean, literally yesterday I was, told to get a new job because my pick was so bad. I nearly retweeted it and went, yeah, and I'm fat too. But so it's Moulton's birthday. And we get a basket sent to this studio, right? This very studio. And it was from Edible Arrangements, which all the fruit and the chocolate covered fruit. And it was from David's wife.
All the stuff I don't eat.
And both John Cassio, our old producer, and I both immediately turned on David in an instant and said, she's telling you need to lose weight.
Right. I was all, mushy, and I'm like, look at my wife, and she loves me, and I must be doing something right. And Mark,
we said it's a sign. We said this is a passive aggressive. She's trying to tell you, I love you, but you need to eat a little more fruit and a little less chocolate, and a little more fruit and a little less fries. And as we persisted, as I think you can tell, Felipe, sometimes when you start edging the big fella, he can get a little angry. And in this instance, because we were not only giving him a hard time, we were telling him that his wife was giving him a hard time. And that you couldn't handle. That bothered you.
Like, my wife is not saying that I am fat.
Dude, she wasn't being very subtle about it. She sent you a whole gift basket with fruit.
I saw it as love.
And that night, David goes home and says, you're not going to believe what these two said.
She kind of raised her eyebrow and went, well, they make a dadgum good point. Oh, yeah.
So even she tried to get him to eat the chocolate covered strawberries. No.
Don't know what to tell you. No.
Pineapples.
No.
I'm muting myself.
Bananas, grapes, oranges, apples. That's pretty much it.
Pretty good.
It's pretty much it. That's all I got.
You got a couple of fruits there.
Not even peaches. Nope.
Millions of peaches? Peaches for me?
If I had to, I'd eat a pear. There's really not much to them.
We're both shaped like one.
Well, mine's a lot bigger than yours. Pear, that is. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All coming up in about 25 minutes here on the Fat Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Glad a couple of you picked up on the President of the United States of America tune that I just went into there.
The what?
Song by the Presidents of the United States of America.
What song?
Peaches.
It's called Peaches?
Yes, it's a terrible song.
I don't think I know what you're talking about.
I doubt that you do. Google it, Chuck. That's Peaches.
Wait, the Presidents of the United States is a band?
The Presidents of the United States of America is the band.
The Presidents of the United States of America.
Moving to the country, I'm gonna eat a lot of peaches.
What is this, bro?
It's
Eat a lot of peaches.
it's a bad song by the Presidents of the United States of America.
It sounds like a kid's song.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just a song that was around mid-90s. And we had a kid on the team that I worked for, the Nashville Knights, Alexander Chinchukov. And Chooch, instead of singing Millions of Peaches, we would sing Millions of Chooches on the bus a lot.
Wow.
Just
Chich.
Hey, Felipe, anything you need to talk with Chris about, you need to do it today because he goes to the Masters. So I don't even know if he'll be here Wednesday. So, whatever, what things you need to talk to him about, best of shows, anything, but I would do it today. I'll say this, Canada Relief. I don't care so much about the President's Trophy, but right now there looks to be a big advantage of being the number 1 overall seed in the East or the number 2 overall seed, because Washington is beginning to look like the weakest link of the 8 playoff teams, and the Panthers have to get out of the first round. The Leafs and the Panthers are the 2 teams from the East that when they enter the playoffs have the, hey, we just got to make it out of round 1. Well, they're better now, Canada Relief. I mean, until they win a playoff series, I'm sorry. You trust the Panthers goaltending? When it really matters, do you trust Bobrovsky or Knight?
I just wonder right now if this is 2 long seasons, 2 incredibly long
For the
no
Lightning.
off seasons for
Right.
the Lightning. And,
Totally.
And I mean, have they just hit a 200 game wall, if you will?
I also think that they know. Yeah. He's his last 3 weeks, he hasn't looked as good. They haven't looked as good.
Let us return.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"20 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Major League Baseball season just 2 days away. Rays made a couple of trades yesterday, both interesting in their own right. Mark, we mentioned this very early in our show. Rays traded a guy for $1 yesterday. We all talk about our self-esteem, okay? No, but he got traded to the Yankees.
And there's a little more to this.
There is.
I mean, there's a little bit of a backstory. It sounds way better when you say he was traded for $1. Don't you, if you're the Yankees, treat him like you're making it rain at a strip joint when he comes in and just start throwing dollar bills at this guy?
Totally. I mean, you know how the new business, they always have the $1, $5, $10 bill behind them. Right. I mean, doesn't somebody have to tape it to his locker?
Oh, in a frame? Absolutely. This dollar used to purchase.
Right. David McKay is who we are talking about. He's a right-handed pitcher, 27 years old. And he's been in the show before and pitched for a couple of seasons. Has not been a terribly effective pitcher, just an arm. Missed all of last year with a hip injury. So the Rays signed him. Didn't have him on their 40-man roster, though. He wasn't going to make the team. He had a clause in his deal, the minor league deal with the Rays, that said, hey, if there's another team out there that calls and they're willing to put me on their 40-man roster, then, you know, I'm out. And the Rays said, yeah, okay, sure, that's fine. And apparently he showed enough in spring training that the Yankees, who I don't think have adequately addressed a few of their needs this offseason, like almost all of them, but they wanted David McKay. And so the Rays contractually had to trade him. And they traded him for $1.
So let's see, this guy, I mean, you think about in the grand scheme of things, though, you could say, you know, Al Michaels was traded for a cartoon.
He was.
Joe Buck was traded for Penn State versus Purdue.
Correct.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, a buck doesn't seem that bad. And he's a Yankee.
Yeah, he is.
Not to mention, it's not just a buck. It's a minor league salary versus now he's guaranteed a little bit more money.
Yeah, he'll have a two-way deal now with the Yankees. And, you know, absolutely, he'll at least be on their 40-man. So for how long, we'll see. The Rays also traded away outfielder Austin Meadows yesterday. He'll be 27 next month. He's a left-hand hitter who drove in 106 runs last year. He's under control for 3 more seasons. He was only going to make $4 million this year. Hit .234, 27 homers, 106 RBIs last year. Was an all-star 3 years ago when he had 33 home runs. A left-handed bat with some punch.
Here's what I think is probably the case. There's something that we don't know already about him because the Rays traded him, so it's obviously a good move, David.
Well, I know.
I know it's hard to read between the lines, but this prospect that was highly thought of at one point and has done really nothing, he'll probably end up hitting 275.
Isaac Paredes is the Tigers' prospect, along with a future compensatory pick, a high compensatory pick, apparently, they're getting. Right. But on the surface, you got to admit, this looks like a, what the heck are you guys doing? I mean, Belichick occasionally screws up, you know. I mean, the Rays at some point, Mark, are really going to make a bad deal.
One would think it's inevitable, David.
I know they haven't made a mistake since they passed on Buster Posey, all right, when they had the #1 overall pick in the draft, but that was a long time ago. It was like 14 years ago.
You know, over the weekend, I saw a guy in a Devil Rays hat.
There you go.
Going old school.
Sure.
I had to do a double take when I saw that. I'm like, look at you.
But yeah, Tigers, this is a heck of a deal. I mean, Paredes was not making the Tigers roster. He was being sent to AAA. And they had no position for him. At best, even if he got called back up to the Tigers, was going to be a utility guy. If you think about it, they've got Cabrera, who can play first or DH. Torkelson's a third baseman, right?
Yep.
Baez is playing short. They got Shope playing second, I believe. I mean, there seemingly was no spot for him. He had not performed that. He's only 23. And obviously the Rays like him. And they're saving $4 million.
Well, that's the part, the lack of cash dump. If there was a little more there, it would seem to make sense.
Right. He's not making Kiermaier money. You know, he's making 12. I mean, I would understand it if this guy was making 12 million. He's making 4. Drove in 106 runs last year. I know RBIs don't count for anything anymore, but he didn't drive in 63. Drove in $106.
That seems significant to me.
It seems like a guy you wouldn't mind having in your lineup for $4 million. So, of course, it's going to end up being a steal for the Rays.
Somehow, some way, let's figure out how that happens, because it will, David. There's not any doubt about it.
So, there you have it. Little baseball season starts Thursday. And I will say Major League Baseball finally getting their head out of the you-know-what. 10 days from now will be the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball. And Major League Baseball, which everyone wears the number 42 as it is on what is known as Jackie Robinson Day throughout the sport, they're actually going to put everybody in Dodger blues. So basically they're going to be wearing the jersey that Jackie would have worn.
All right. I like that.
Yeah. I think for a day it works.
Absolutely. And we've said it all along. They wrap themselves around the history of the sport, and good for them to get this done, because for a while it didn't even look like they were going to be playing on Jackie Robinson Day. So,
right.
Righting a few wrongs here by getting things done. Our poll question today, by the way, was just simply, do you like one shining moment? And I was going to go with, simple a hell yes or can't stand it. But David was, wait a minute. I used to like it, and now I don't. I'm over it. Over it winning with nearly 50% of the vote.
Okay.
Not a lot of voters, but getting 50% of the vote.
Well, if it's not a food or football question, it never really does much. Speaking of football, the Eagles and Saints made a fascinating trade yesterday in which the Saints essentially bought themselves a first-round pick. The Eagles, who had 3 of them, were like, yeah, sure, we can give up one of them. They had 15, 16, and 19. And the Saints essentially bought the 16th pick of the draft. Now, for you-know-what and giggles, the Saints and Eagles flipped their first-round picks. The Saints were at 18, the Eagles at 19. They flipped them. So now when the dust settled, the Saints are at 16 and 19. The Eagles are at 15 and 18. Now, how about that? So Philly can make the deal with the Saints and break the Saints' heart on 2 separate occasions if the Saints just hold pat.
This whole thing from the Saints standpoint is just the weirdest damn trade that I've seen.
And the cost of buying that first-round pick in this year's draft, well, they give up next year's first-rounder, a third-rounder in this year's draft, albeit a late compensatory pick, and a second-rounder in 2024. So they give up a 1, a 2, and a 3. To buy a mid first-round pick. You think about if they took that first, second, and third-round pick, which player out there on a team could the Saints have acquired? I mean, you're offering a first, a second, and a third over 3 drafts.
Yeah, and there's not a tackle or a safety or a wide receiver out there that you couldn't have picked up for that.
Well, I mean, McLaurin with Washington's entering the final year of his deal, and they're not doing well in negotiations. Could you have bought McLaurin for a first, a second, and a third?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Right.
And I don't think you would have needed all 3 picks, if you know what I mean.
And that's the Joe Banner, who's part of the 33rd team, and he took to Twitter last night and was like, listen, I don't get this deal, but what I really don't get is that instead of buying a draft pick, you could have bought a player.
The problem for the Saints is buying a player costs money. Draft picks do not cost the same amount of money, and the Saints, as we've spoke about for a long time, are in salary cap hell. That's part of this more than anything, I think, David. They want to try to get players and do it on the cheap.
Or, and you mentioned this very early in the show, are the Saints going to package 16 and 19 and move into the top 10? You know, Jets at 4 and 10, Giants at 5 and 7.
And I think the Giants at 7 would be the spot, David.
And if so, who are they targeting?
Would they go up and get Malik Willis?
I don't even know if they have to. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with some final thoughts, all coming up here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They're not doing 7-inning doubleheaders. I do not believe. Mentioned the Pujols thing. 22nd straight start on opening day ties Aaron and Yaz for second most all time. Pete Rose with 23. Canada relief. I'd love to see it. Would love to see the Bills win the Super Bowl. You know how I feel about every fan base should have a parade. Tell you what, that governor better hope they win the Super Bowl. The whole runner at second bothers me. You know what I'd be okay with? I'd be okay with runner on first. I could live with that. Them not wanting the games to be as long, shorter spring training, pitching, blah, blah, blah. I could live with putting a runner on at first. We have not made a Masters pick. I know who I'm going to pick, but we have not made it. Listen, I don't think the Jays have enough pitching, Canada relief. Now, they've got the system and the money to buy some during the season, but they lost.
They're going to hit 322 home runs.
They may, but also they lost the lefty Matz, who went to the Cardinals. Well, JB Vike, I think they have a better chance here in the next few years than you do. I think they have a better. Huh. Yeah, Coleco, we had Curtis Strange on an hour and a half ago. He said they're going to get 2 inches today. And Mark said that earlier. When's Tigers tea time supposed to be? Thursday?
That's a great question. Let's see if they're on masters.com.
RCB, I'm betting on the Rays. Mark's picking the Jays.
They do not have tea times. They probably put them up today.
I would think a lot of guys talk today. I mean, if it's going to rain, don't you think
they've
that
already got they've already put out the list
okay.
of when they talk. So yes.
I did watch a decent amount of the women's amateur at Augusta. Poor girl from LSU choked it away. 16-year-old won it.
I've decided to rename my mustache the Doug Edert.
Okay. I would go with that.
Yeah.
You know.
You're still growing that.
It's the Doug Edert.
It's got a little more of the Adam Morrison to it.
Oh, don't call me Adam Morrison right now.
Plus with the
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. Vote in our poll question. One shining moment. Do you like it? Do you not like it? You're one of those like me that you used to like it, but 35 years. I'm over it.
And then there's Felipe, who downloaded it earlier in the show and is planning on making his own One Shining Moment video of his exploits at the rec center at FGCU.
Throw in a couple in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, he just does this for himself in the booth while we're doing a segment. He's got headphones on and he just entertains himself. Miller and Moulton have always thought that you behave like an only child. It amazed us when we found out that you have siblings, because we looked at one another like, man, he's in his own world over there. It's just, we figured you were an only child.
Well, and we met your father. He said he kind of acted like one, that this was not anything unusual for you.
Well, I have one brother, but we're very different. So
no.
And that's Mark saying that, having never met your brother.
That might have been the a-hole moment right there.
I think it was. You waited till the last segment, though, which is really good for you. Really good. And me too, for that matter. Time now for...
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
Hey, I don't want to say things were different back in 1915, Mark, but first off, the heavyweight championship fight took place in Cuba between Jess Willard and Jack Johnson. And Willard KOs the legendary champion in the 26th round.
Now that's a fight.
Man, oh man. I mean, just think about, Mark, they only earmarked an hour and a half on television. That fight went 2.5 hours easy. It's 1915. They didn't have TV. It was a joke. 1923, 99 years ago today, Mark, that Firestone guy and that Firestone company, they started producing inflatable tires. Was a game changer, as they said back in the day. 1959, Art Wall wins his only major. He wins the Masters by 1. 1948, WGN began broadcasting.
Bozo the Clown, first thing they had on.
Little local station in Chicago would turn into one of the first superstations. 1982, Jim Cott pitches an inning on opening day for the Cardinals. That was the 24th season that Jim Cott had pitched in the majors when he threw that inning. Cott would be a valuable part, lefty, to get lefties out of the bullpen for a Cardinals team that won the World Series in 7 over Milwaukee. Brewers amazingly haven't been back. 1984, on this day, Felipe Kareem passed Wilt on the all-time scoring list. I believe at the time to become number 1.
Yes.
On the list. On this day, big one in 87. Gretzky wins his 7th straight scoring title. But Fox premiered a couple of TV shows. One of them was the Tracy Ullman Show. Remember that?
I do.
They went kind of the variety angle with the comedian. And it worked for a couple years. They also had this little sitcom they debuted called Married with Children. Did pretty well for that fledgling network.
Such a good show. It really was a good show. And it still plays, if Nickelodeon or one of those has reruns and you ever see it, it still works.
29 years ago today, it was the first ever game in then Florida Marlins history. They played the Dodgers at home and beat them 6-3 in Miami. Although, actually, I guess it was Fort Lauderdale, right?
No. It's
Miami Gardens, I guess.
Still in Dade County.
It was also the debut for the Rockies. Marlins and Rockies came in together in 93. Colorado, couldn't put them at home this time of year.
No.
They started on the road. They were in New York. They lost 3-0 to the Mets because the Mets win on opening day, damn it. Also, 29 years ago tonight, the timeout. Weber. Carolina winning the second for Dean Smith, 77-71 over the Fab Five.
Was the timeout in the semifinal or the final?
No, it was in the final.
Oh.
It was in the final. In fact, Michigan beat Patino in Kentucky, I believe, in overtime in the semis.
And it is the one thing when you go back and watch that highlight, look at the players on the bench telling Weber to call a timeout.
Half the bench
is telling him timeout.
I wonder if they're honest about it now.
They better be, because the video can show it.
Yeah.
I could circle them all for him if he wanted me to.
Weber in the locker room when they made the Sweet 16 with Juwan.
Yeah.
All right. Nice to see him back in the fold.
It's good to see that this is getting closer to getting all this stuff fixed.
Now, if you can only put the banners back
Exactly.
up, we could, move on. 1998, the Diamondbacks, the second worst start for an expansion team in the history of Major League Baseball. Mets had the worst. But the Diamondbacks started 0-5. But 24 years ago today, got their first win. They beat the Giants 3-2. 12 years ago tonight, Duke beat Butler. That was the half-court shot from Hayward that nearly went, which would have won it. 61-59, Duke. UConn women, their last national championship was 6 years ago tonight. They beat Syracuse by 31. I think it was their fourth in a row. And basically, the national media was saying, UConn is bad for the sport.
Whatever.
Well, they haven't won it since. Only been in one final, I believe, since. That was
Well, yeah, because
Sunday
it's the only
night.
time they've lost a final.
Right. Mark, a lot of famous people were born on this day, April 5th. Booker T. Washington, not the wrestler. Pop Warner. Spencer Tracy. Betty Davis. Frank Gorshin. Wasn't he the Riddler?
Okay.
Gregory Peck. Colin Powell. And Judith Resnick, one of the astronauts on Challenger. She would have been 73 today. Johan Creek, who won a couple of Australian Opens, lived in Southwest Florida for a long time. He's 64 today. Chris Carpenter is 57. Ike Hilliard and Hendrik Stenson are both 46. Charlotte Flair is 36. And Pharrell Williams, don't worry, be happy, right? 49. And that, Marcus, today was the day.
All right. Couple of omissions. Was today in 1994 that Kurt Cobain committed suicide. Bad day for grunge bands. Lane Staley OD'd, the lead singer of Alice in Chains, in 2002. But the guitarist from Pearl Jam, Mike McCready, born today in 1965. Those are your errors and omissions.
Well, my first pair of Jordans 4 years ago today.
Only 4 years ago?
Only 4 years. Right.
Dad wouldn't let you get Jordans?
No, they're really expensive.
I could just see you asking for that for birthday and Christmas every year until you finally won them over. Didn't work, huh?
I like Kobe's more.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I'm pretty sure this was a good last year, but it's so good it's back again. Del Hall from Cincinnati has taken Lent to a new level. For those of you that don't know, Christian observance of Lent, 40 days where people give something up or maybe do something that's really good. I gave up ice cream this year, for instance. This man gave up food. All he is doing for Lent is drinking beer. That's right, and all beer diet for 40 days. Somehow he's lost 25 pounds doing the all beer diet.
Wow. I would love some specifics.
Okay. He says he doesn't really drink to get drunk. Tries to, he says if he's wants something sweet, he goes with like a milk stout. Wants something fruity, he goes with like an IPA with some berries in it. That wouldn't be good for you. You don't like berries. We've already established that.
Right. I could stay
I don't
away
know
from
about
that.
Gordy, Melrose, or Bonds, but I do know Straw and Blue are not your favorites.
Does he have a limit as to how many beers he has per day? I mean, if you go the light variety, we're talking 90 to 100 calories a beer here. So you could have quite a few.
It doesn't really say anybody. Does he get people to buck up, and he's raised money for the Ken Anderson Alliance that provides opportunities for adults with disabilities. They've raised $5,000, trying to raise $25,000 by the time he finishes his all beer diet with a special bar crawl on April the 24th. For the bad, we go to St. Francis County, Missouri, where the Park Hills Fire Department short a truck. That's because one was stolen from out in front of the fire department. So if anybody knows where a 1986 red Chevy brush truck is that says Park Hills Fire and Rescue on each door, they're asking you to call authorities. I don't know. What do you do? I mean, the theft of the canoe, David. You take the canoe to water, you paddle. You can do something with the canoe.
Right.
You steal a fire truck, you're kind of limited.
Yes. Yeah, you have to hide it because people are looking for it.
Bingo. Finally, the ugly. It's peanut butter, David, and not just any peanut butter. Skippy. Always said go Jif, and there are more reasons now because they have recalled peanut butter products because they could contain fragments of stainless steel from a piece of manufacturing equipment. Hey, I'd like the peanut butter steel and jelly, please. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 5th, 2022.
A lot of hockey games tonight. One of them in this state, Florida Panthers hosting the Maple Leafs, who just whacked the Lightning last night 6-2. But it's the second of back-to-backs. Panthers are minus 160. Don't you have to ride them pretty hard tonight? Think the Leafs can sweep
No.
back-to-back nights, the Florida sweep?
I do not.
I do think it's a good thing, though, that because if they had the day off, they all would have hit South Beach hard. They might actually have more in the tank for the game tonight.
If it were tomorrow.
NBA, both Heat and Magic are home tonight. Heat hosting the Hornets. Remember, Miami's magic number to be the 1 seed is 2. They have 3 games left. If they win tonight, their final game of the year is against the Magic.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the thought is if they win tonight, Charlotte's a playoff team, or at least a play-in team.
Right.
So, Magic, by the way, hosting the Cavs. The Cavs, I think, need to win 2 of their last 3 in order to be the 7 and host the play-in game. And I will say for Cleveland, you know, they haven't done anything since the Lenny Wilkins days without LeBron. So I would love for the Cavs to be the 7. You get a home game. It's a better chance to win it. And in theory, then if they win it, they go in as the 7. They won't play Miami. They'll play most likely Boston. They'll lose, but that's okay. They'll get their feet wet in the playoffs.
I want to pose a quick hypothetical to you. Brooklyn is 10 right now. If Atlanta drops down to 9 and plays Brooklyn in that 9-10 game,
Exactly.
it's in Atlanta. Who's to say Trae Young doesn't score 50 points and they upset the Nets and the Nets season is over?
Absolutely.
100%. And that's why we've been talking. That's why earlier we talked about that trade. I mean, Brooklyn has gone backwards now for a while.
The other night, I mean, no one watched it because it was the night of the Duke UNC. KD scored 55.
And they lost to the Hawks.
To the Hawks in Atlanta.
Right.
You never know.
And that's it, folks. That's it. Baseball doesn't start till Thursday. Masters doesn't start till Thursday. Got a little NBA, NHL tonight. That's it. The NBA game, I believe, on ESPN at 8 is Milwaukee and Chicago.
Yes. In Chicago, I believe.
Just pretty good. Said that.
That is a good game.
Yeah.
Now let's hope it delivers.
But a light night, sports-wise.
And I will say, just, you know, with the Leafs, they're off tomorrow, and then Dallas. If you're running the Leafs, don't you say, "Sweet Florida, I give you a go night, and we leave tomorrow"?
Totally. That's the incentive.
I mean, that would be mine.
That's the incentive.
I've already cleared it. We can take the plane. We can leave tomorrow with the plane. You got a go night tonight. You get the Panthers.
You guys could be on South Beach by 11.
Oh, absolutely.
What's 7 o'clock start?
Right.
Done by 9:30. Quick shower. Boys, let's get these interviews done. We got to go. Oh, yeah. A go night on a Tuesday.
Tuesday go night in South Beach.
And
I mean, think about it. Canada's still...
It's still fairly closed,
Right.
Hell, I don't even know if they'd make that Stars game on Thursday. They might fly in Thursday morning. They might be so bad off.
Got a go night, no pregame skate against Dallas. I don't know what to tell you.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks to Curtis Strange and Pat Kirwan for joining us on the show today. Seth Everett will join us tomorrow. David Sampson joins us Thursday morning on opening day.
Looking forward to always chatting with David Sampson, get his thoughts on what the upcoming baseball season looks like from his perspective. If you miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com or floridasportsnetwork.com, where you can download any part of it at all the usual places for a podcast. It'll be up in the next 30 minutes or so. We hope you have a great Tuesday. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest